Welcome all back to a very hot UK film club, but this is a fun one because this is the first partners pick of Wedding Crashers. So this is Sandy's husband's pick. How you two been? Is it hot where you are?
It's
because
hot here
everybody
too.
in the UK...
it's hot and it's about to get 10 times hotter.
There you go.
But we think the storms are, at least for me, Jay, I don't know about you, but we had like 5 straight days of severe thunderstorms, power outages, everything. No danger for me of a power outage today, though.
Oh, good. No, we've pretty much just been like high 80s. We're looking at mid to high 90s next week. And then just a bit of a windstorm yesterday. Not even a storm, just some pretty strong wind that knocked a bunch of branches out all over my yard. So that'll be fun to pick up in 90-degree weather tomorrow.
You said yard.
That's for tomorrow.
I love it. Yard.
Cool. Excellent. So, Sandy, reasons why?
Reasons why Wedding Crashers. So Mr. Q has provided us with his summary as to why he selected Wedding Crashers. So this is Mr. Q talking.
Yeah. Now, before we got here, it was quite funny because you were like, "Oh, please don't," and then it was. You were like, "Please don't let him have the pick. Please don't let him." Like you were very, very nervous that new category that was your idea.
It was my idea.
Came out, and then it came out straight away. Yeah. So there was a bit of apprehension there, wasn't there?
There was, but I didn't give him a lot of time to think and to do anything mean to me. And he did. He thought, like, I texted him literally within minutes of the wheel, and he texted me right back. So and it was a good pick. So here's why. And this is him talking. I am a sucker for boy meets girl, boy overcomes obstacles to get the girl, and boy and girl live happily ever after movies. Happy endings are the best. I also like to be entertained when I watch a movie versus being scared or on some sort of psychological journey. That is 100% true for him. Comedies will always be my favorite. And will always be my first choice when I'm in the mood to be entertained, and romantic comedies are my favorites. Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn were the kings of rom-coms back then. So I was really looking forward to seeing that movie when it came out. We never did see it in the theater, but I watched it for the first time on one of our outbound flights to London. Happy, funny, cute, a plot that made you root for the good guy, but not think too hard about anything. That's why I picked this film.
Well said.
So there we go.
Well said.
There we go.
He is a rom-com guy. Now, I did kind of look it up. I was like, oh, one of our trips to London. It was actually a trip to Paris, but he was close. Because
close enough.
Yeah.
This came out in, okay, now we have to say it. This film came out 20 years ago.
Crazy.
July of 2005. So this film is now 20 years old. And I feel like we're talking about all these milestones and anniversaries, but it's because we're getting older. And it's also because there's nothing really, there are very few films, and we've talked about this, that are relatively new that would land on this list. So we are looking back at older films, but this one is hard to think that it's 20 years, but we were on our way to Paris in January of 2006. So that's when it had to be, because this came out in the summer of 2005. Sure makes me feel old. But I guess I never gave this film a second look, because there are so many things, we'll get into it, that I saw in this film that I did not see the first time I watched it. And
well, if it was on a plane, it must have been highly edited as well.
no, I think I saw it like home, like
Oh,
on
okay.
television, because I tend to not watch anything on planes because I'm like going through my guidebook and maniacally making my checklist of all the things that we need to do when we travel. So I generally don't watch anything on the plane, but yeah, so I think I watched it on television at home, and okay, I thought it was a cute film. But on this rewatch, I was pleasantly surprised in a lot of things in this film, and we'll get to it as we.
Can I say, were you pleasantly surprised, unsurprised that this is the movie of the whole film club that has the most boobs in it?
Yeah, actually, now you point that out, that is surprising.
Just saying.
And it's all really in one part. It's over and done with early in the movie. One part.
It's
that's
like
it.
that montage of like
just kind of comes
their
out of nowhere.
whole, and it's where you get to know them, right? It's their whole modus operandi.
Yeah, and I read somewhere the producer was like, "No, it has to be done. It is for the plot." And I was like, "Really?" Like you felt the first couple were in lingerie, and then you just went, "Nope." I was like, "Okay, whatever."
Nope, go for it. And it fits that genre. I think in IMDb, it's literally classified. There's those film categories that people click on, and it's rom-com, raunchy rom-com, Vaughn Wilson rom-com, raunchy Vaughn Wilson rom-com. So it's like, okay, which is kind of also in that same model as those 80s quote raunchy teen flick rom-com. So it's kind of funny because we had them in the 80s. There was kind of a blip in the 90s. I guess everyone got, more sensible. And then they came back with these kinds of films. But that is uncomfortable, Viper.
It's funny you mentioned that, though, because that is one of the reasons I think I've always liked this movie, is that it's a rom-com, but it doesn't feel like one of the cheesy kind of like Katherine Heigl rom-coms from, the early 2000s, things like that. Like, it's got a little bit of that edginess to it. It's not super vulgar or anything, but it does have jokes that, kind of push the boundaries of edginess in funny ways that, obviously now people are going to probably get up in arms about, but you got to consider 20 years ago and all that. But it just feels different than your average rom-com. Like, I don't view this the way I do like a, I don't know, back in the early 2000s, I feel like rom-coms would come out every other week. There were so many that they all blend into one, but it feels very different from the rest of those. I think that's why I liked it, because I'm not usually a big rom-com person. There's one or two that I've liked that I can think of, but for the most part, this is the one that stands out as like different, but still technically qualifies as that.
Yeah, I think it draws the like very thin line of being a rom-com, though, doesn't it? It's not a full, girl meet.
Yeah, it's not like the cheesy kind of
how to I don't know, like how to lose a guy in 10 days.
Yeah, like stuff like that. And God, what's the one we did? The 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Like, it doesn't feel like it has that level of kind of cheese to it. It just feels
I
like
knew you were gonna say cheese.
It just falls like right in the line of, yes, this is technically a rom-com, but it feels more just like a Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson comedy, like you saw a lot during those days with Dodgeball and the other one Vince Vaughn did with Jennifer Aniston, The Breakup. Another one that's really good, but it feels like it just feels more like their comedy than it does your average formulaic rom-com, and I think that's why I've always liked it.
It's a good combination of a rom-com and a buddy movie.
Yeah,
this
that's
is
a great way to put it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the focus is more on their relationship than on the romantic relationships. The central 100%. Relationship here is these two guys, not the women, not their relationships with their women. So I think that makes it interesting. And as we talk through the plot, I think there are a few kind of, I hate to say it, and I'm sorry I'm laughing, but there are some intelligent pieces to this plot where you wouldn't expect them. And so that, on second watch, that's why I say I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I must say, second watch, this is probably, it's got to be second or third. Like, really? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't. Yeah, I would. I'm trying to think. Would it if it would have been on TV? I wouldn't have watched it from start from finish. I might have like switched on halfway through, or something like that. But I don't think I've ever done back to back like that time thing. Yeah.
So this is one I've actually watched a ton because for myself and like my generation growing up, this was a massive hit. Like when we talk about, you know, a lot of iconic movies and quotes and things like that, this one, I don't know if it quite reaches the level of like true pop culture icon. Maybe some of the quotes and things do. But you know, for my generation growing up, I specifically remember, like, it was funny rewatching it again this time because it has been a little bit since I have actually watched it. And some of the things, just like the Lock It Up and the Stage 5 Clinger and just all these different things that go through, like those were quoted. We quoted those all the time as kids and teenagers growing up. Yeah, the rules and never leave another crasher behind. Like all these silly little things. So I'm not sure if it reached true iconic status, but it definitely had a pocket of time in there where it was iconic for a lot of people. Those quotes were going on for a while, and
I think that's
I just forgot about them.
But I think, like you just said, it like, you know, like your friends, like there's a movie that you all hitched onto, and then you all kind of just keep saying the things.
Yeah, for sure.
Like in a film, like ours, like probably my period, like with my mates was Wayne's World. It's like that. Everything was said to that. So yeah, like I was 25 when this movie was released in 2005. Military, everything got kind of busy.
Yeah,
like that. So a little bit. Don't know what happened, but. Yeah, so it was later. I must have seen this. It would have been, as Sandy said, it would have been on TV. I wouldn't have had time to go and see it at cinema. So it would have been later. But you know what? I do think I think in this movie, when I rewatched it, I completely forgot Christopher Walken was in it. And I completely forgot what's his name? Who I mentioned the other day, Bradley Cooper.
Yep.
Bradley Cooper is a totally different guy in this film.
Yes, yeah.
And I know I
tried to get my girlfriend. I went, "Can you go through your phone? Do you still have his number? Because it'd be quite funny just to call him up and just prank him." There are reasons.
She's a professional. She wouldn't.
I know. But
Stasis, not so much.
There is a funny thing, and we didn't realize, and like we'll do it off. There is a funny thing, and you have to wait until off screen. There is a funny thing with Vince Vaughn and Bradley Cooper that I can't say on.
Ooh, now I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
But James, what you mentioned about it kind of being a movie of your time. So, not to jump to the end, but.
Can I just quickly? Can I just say, was Jay like 5 when this movie came out?
I would have been. This was what 2005. I would have been 13.
There you go.
13, 14.
Well, and this film obviously, I hate to say obviously, this film didn't win any major awards, but it did win the MTV Movie of the Year. That was sense. A big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you know, with teenagers, and exactly this was exactly, you know, your time, your alley, frontal exposure, you know, that's exactly the audience and the time frame that this film was targeted at. So that, you know, that's why you remember this film.
Right.
And, so you were definitely right in that zone. And, you know, not that the MTV Awards, I don't know, I guess it meant more back then. But I go back to the days when they actually played music on MTV.
Right. So. It was definitely more of a pulse of kind of pop culture back then at that point. Now, I think it's I'm probably quite out of touch with pop culture in that sense. So maybe it is still in tune, but I would imagine MTV and MTV Movie Awards, that kind of stuff, are fairly out of touch with the current pulse of, you know, pop culture and all that. But at that time, it was pretty accurate, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, shall we begin and talk about?
Yeah. So like
John and Jeremy.
I completely forgot. I do like I find it kind of funny, the actual start of it, because you have the
I do too.
When it's actually you have the is it New Lion or something like that, and then you hear the like two people arguing,
bickering, yeah,
and then you find out these are as a a divorce settlement. They've, it's like
They're
who gets what,
mediators.
and they're mediators. And I was thinking to myself, wow, how annoying would these mediators would be? And then the guy actually sells them. Danny, can you please stop talking?
How great are they? Like their whole spiel.
It's a case, and it's funny because my wife actually sat down and watched this with me. It had been a while since she had watched it as well, and immediately we were both just like, it really almost always is kind of Vince Vaughn being Vince Vaughn, and same for Owen Wilson.
Yep.
But I think the reason it works for them, one, it's just got a lot. Together they've got a lot of charisma, a lot of chemistry, but individually they also both have that. I was actually just watching a new show with Owen Wilson on Apple TV, like a golf show, and again, it's just kind of him being him, but it's still enjoyable because there's something charismatic, something likable to that, style of how he acts and how he does his thing, versus say like. I kind of always pick on these two lately. Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart, for example, have been the two that I reference in comedy a lot lately, where it's like, I'm just so sick of them doing the same thing all the time. And I think it's because they overexpose people to it. They just did so many projects. They even actually, the two of them did one together at one point. That like, it's just an overabundance of it, and you get sick of it. These two are kind of in the same category of how they do their comedy. But it still works for me because you just don't, I feel like they don't do it as much as some of these other guys do.
I feel like in this set, the third one would have been like Ben Stiller, during this time. I think you're right, because Ben Stiller gets on my nerves. But these two, I think in general, they both play likable characters.
Yep.
Regardless, deep down, they're playing very genuine, likable people. And whereas I don't know what it is about Ben Stiller, although I've mentioned Zoolander a bunch of times. I do think that's
I do
hilarious.
That one.
But it's kind of funny. It's Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, and Ben Stiller in a lot of these films during this time. And they were a box office draw.
Yep, for sure. A Dodgeball would have been right before this one.
Well, Vince Vaughn, I like that.
Vince Vaughn was actually in Zoolander as well. Very small role, very briefly, but he was in there.
I did that review on his latest kind of comedy thing, Bad Monkey.
I watched your review on that. I've actually been meaning to circle back to that because I just like Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, and it was, but that's the thing is, like, I kind of liked him. He's doing his own normal thing.
Yeah,
but he's a little bit older, and it's just a little bit. It was, you know what, I enjoyed that kind of like this humor, when you have that kind of just like, it's not going to make you cringe, it's not going to make you go in hysteric, you're not going to have that emotion like, oh, it's hurting, it's hurting. Yeah, it's just makes you get a little giggle, and you can have a little bit of fun watching a movie. And that was that show. And like, so it's the same with Owen Wilson, though he had his problems, but he's back now, kind of thing.
Oh, has he? Oh, I didn't even know he did. I'm out of the loop on that.
Oh yeah, he had a moment, tried to what is it?
Self-delete.
Self-delete. Yeah. Trying to be YouTube friendly there. But but then he went into like try to do. I think he is very much, even though this movie is, I would say Vince Vaughn is the lead in this, just because I know that's kind of hard because it is Owen Wilson has the romantic one, but I think the better lines and the better story is the Vince Vaughn character in this. So I like John, but I like Jeremy more, and I think it is because I like what's that, Alicia Fisher,
Isla Fisher.
I think she steals this. I
think
she's
great.
Steals it.
She's playing a nut job. Anytime you're playing a nut job,
but just like so many. And I'm so sorry. This movie's making me gush about it because it was such a right. Like it was such a trip down memory lane to rewatch this. But even just like the small roles, like Christopher Walken's hilarious. The brother Todd is hilarious. The grandmother, who would not be probably allowed in a movie today, is absolutely hilarious. The priest. The mother, who's attracted to Owen Wilson, like everybody in this movie is funny. The dummy that's playing football with him, who's getting way too excited for Bradley Cooper, like they're all just everybody.
That's why I think like
is done well.
Gloria's character, I think, where she's got, because she is the comic relief, because she plays the over the top psycho. Because really, John and Jeremy, they're playing it straight. Really, they're the two straight guys, and then they lead everybody else to be the comedy the colony element into it. So they feed off everyone because their whole point of say going with this movie is they're wedding crashers. After this thing, they're going to weddings, and it, it clearly kicks on. It's wedding season,
What season?
So they
is it?
are,
what
yeah,
season? It's not. It's wedding season.
Yeah,
it's
so
funny
it
because
is, yeah,
as a kid, I always thought like, wow, it'd be great to be an adult and do wedding seasons. And now that I just went through like 3-4 years of nonstop wedding seasons, I never want to go to a wedding again.
What was it?
Depends.
We had
some of them are good.
Yes,
we had
some
4
are.
last
Most of
year.
them are not.
Yeah, I have had so many the
year.
past few.
Yeah. But yeah, it's wedding after wedding, and it is when you realize they're at the weddings to scout
the girls.
Scout out the girls. They're in for it. There's only one thing they're there for. It's not to eat the buffet, not have a good time.
Well, we're gonna talk about that buffet for a minute, though.
In a sense,
yeah.
We're gonna. No, I'm not going there.
Only the crab cakes
in this montage. And since you mentioned crab cakes, so this film filmed in Washington D.C., Georgetown.
I was gonna say
St. Michael's, Maryland.
I was gonna say I thought that was the reason your husband picked it, because it was kind of in your where you do all your shorts, your videos and all that.
When I said I was surprised that there was something underlying here, that's what it was. And it's not just that this was filmed in all my places. All the St. Michael's, Eastern Shore of Maryland, Chesapeake Bay, crab cakes. When they're in the office talking about wedding season, and one of them has the tuxedo in the bag, and the camera goes to the bookshelf, and on the bookshelf is a Baltimore Orioles cap, which obviously you're in Washington D.C. I'm so sorry, Washington Nationals, but more people are Orioles fans still than Nationals fans. That's not surprising. But looking at the next shelf down, everything on his shelf I own and is on my shelf. It was all the memorabilia from the 1983 World Series, which unfortunately, sadly, was the last time the Orioles won, which is over 40 years ago. There was, at every game during the series, there was a different giveaway, and there was this bottle of Coca-Cola in a bottle that was a special Orioles bottle of Coca-Cola. There were glasses on his shelf that you had to go to the fast food joint called Hardee's, and every week they had a different glass with a different Oriole player on it, and I would ride my bike to Hardee's every Monday morning and get the different glass. Okay. So he had everything on this guy's shelf I literally am looking at right now, which was creepy as you know what. The next shelf down were books that I have on my bookshelf. So that's where I was like, oh my God, I'm looking at this and thinking, how did I not notice this before? Then later, when they come back into the offices, and you only see it for a second here, there are 3 prints on the wall, 2 of which I have had in my, not mine, but in the office where I used to work, because they're kind of common around here. There's a print of a sketch of the main street in Georgetown, and there's a print of a sketch of the Smithsonian Castle, which I have filmed it. So anywho, as I'm watching this film, it's all these little things that are like, I've walked through these streets. I know this, but there are little things. They took such great care to make this a Washington, D.C. / Maryland Shore film. And I'll point out that only someone from our area would get. But no, if you live on the Eastern Shore and you hang out there, you are not a Nationals fan. You are an Orioles fan. You talk about crab cake. Yeah, it's not cliche. We do talk about crab cakes, and we compare them everywhere we go, because different places make them differently. But anyway, not to derail, as I was watching this film, I was like, I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose, because we made him choose so quickly. But there's a lot of like me and my stuff in this film. And I'm sure he didn't even notice that. And if I pointed it out, he'd say, oh, yeah, sure. That's why I picked it.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I want to say that is why he picked it.
I'm going to try. But then as we get into some of these scenes, every church that you're seeing here is some church downtown in Washington, church / synagogue / all of these locations. But yeah, so back to the film. So they're on the rounds. It's wedding season, and they do it all. And they not only go to every wedding, they are the life of the party.
Well, yeah, they get
Every
involved. And
wedding.
like, it's microphone. It's like, it's everybody's got like, who's that? The story. Oh, that's such and such. Isn't that Mike's adopted, kid? It's they're just trashing everybody's wedding, and free booze, free food, and the women. So yeah, it's all about.
Yeah, hard to complain.
Yeah, and we find that they don't explain it straight away, but we find out later with the senator's wedding for his daughter is they've got a dossier. They've got who's going. So they scout it out, and then they pick their identity mark, I suppose, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we lost a lot of people. What, in Everest? We lost a lot of people being and it's
what,
just,
with the Yankees?
Yeah.
Lost a lot of good men. But they had their list of which ones have a cash bar. So he whips out 2 purple hearts.
Oh yeah.
We won't have to pay.
Yeah.
We won't have to pay for a drink, which is, that's kind of crossing the line for sure.
Sorry, 2 seconds. I'm just going to unplug
is,
my headphones. They're playing up and I can't really hear you guys.
No
well, you sound fine, just so you know.
Right. But that is some of the edgy humor. The second I saw that, I'm like, ooh, that's probably something that, as a kid, I laughed at more, not realizing like stolen valor and how, bad of a thing that is and all that. Or just not really. I mean, as a kid, I just didn't know about, that kind of stuff happening where people fake like they're in the forces and things like that. I just didn't think it was a thing. So you see the joke and you just kind of chuckle. So now you look back and you're like, ooh, shoot, that's actually probably a little edgier than I realized it was
not
back
cool.
in the day. Yeah, definitely not.
You're talking about the Purple Heart thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So that actually, they promoted it as you could get that kind of a plastic replicant. I read this online on their website to promote the movie, and it was National Congress of such and such. When you've got to take that down because they did it as a ploy.
Crazy thing to do.
This will get you women.
That's crazy because it's not even like a focal point of the movie whatsoever. It's a brief little one-off joke. That's even when you see the joke, you're kind of like, again, I'm not somebody who gets offended or up in arms about things, and obviously I'm not in the forces, so I don't know exactly. Not to say I don't know. I understand why that's such a bad thing, stolen valor and all that. I guess my point is more, I don't know how it would affect me if I saw that joke and I was somebody who was in the forces is more the, I don't know that I was thinking of. But even watching it back now, as somebody who doesn't get super offended or super, concerned about edgy jokes, even I was kind of like, ooh, that one was maybe one you could have left out. You didn't have to do that one.
Crossed the line, but they didn't care. That's
that was the times
they're willing to take. Now, Jay, I'm going to ask you first, Jay, and then James. So Jay, so during this whole montage as they're building up, the song Shout is on, which was just unfortunately just a standard at every wedding in the 90s, 80s. I'm sure even before then. I mean, the song goes back to the 60s and the 70s. I think I've only been to 2 weddings that actually played that song. So Jay, do they even play that at, weddings of your generation?
Not as much, but there was a stretch back in like the late 2010s. So like, I remember a few weddings I went to in like 2017, 18, 19. That it was still happening. But since
it's more the parents' generation.
Yeah, since then I don't think I've heard it much. Now that I think of it.
James, do they play that song at all in I don't know, British wedding? I've never been to a
It's fun. I mean, it is good fun when it would come on.
I don't know. I don't think it's a very British. If you have a British DJ, you have some cheese, but it's not that. It's I don't remember any one that they would play that. It's very, not
today they still do the line dances. God help us.
Not in the UK, thank God.
No,
we just get very, very drunk. That is it.
There you go.
For my generation, the one that's kind of taken over as the has to be played at every wedding at some point has been Mr. Brightside by the Killers.
Yes,
that's the one
that's the one.
Oh yeah, that's the one that gets everybody going nuts.
I love the Killers.
What's the other one they play?
I'm a huge fan of the Killers, so I'm fine with that being the new song at weddings.
Yeah. Yeah, they do that, and then what's it? This Sex is on Fire by Kings of Leon and all that.
Kings of Leon. That's another one that makes its way there. That's another good one. I
Yeah.
actually also really like the Kings of Leon.
Yeah.
My cousin's wedding, the song that went over the biggest, and because we were all, it was crazy, was Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. My oldest aunties in the world were out there just screaming and singing and dancing to I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Yep, that one.
Weddings are fun.
People going for sure.
Fun.
They are. For me, I always say, not to derail us even more here, but for me, I always say weddings, the worst part about weddings is like the week leading up to it when you just know you have to go to it and you really don't want to. You don't want to pack. You don't want to get your suit. You don't want to do any of that. You don't want to drive to wherever the hell it is. And then
I hope that wasn't your own wedding.
Don't tell my wife. No.
Goodness, Jay.
But when you do finally get there and you're all dressed and you get the first drinks in, it's like, all right, let's have a good time. So they are always fun when you're there. For me, it's the build up to it of like, I just want my Saturday to myself.
I know.
Not to this.
I've had a couple of weddings where I've had to go, oh my, well, who I sat next to. And
that's the problem.
I've only had one.
And then I've had some ones that you're like, oh my God, after like, they go, oh, should we go to the bar? And then you realize, oh my God, you could be my best friend.
Oh.
Literally, you have that kind of, and then you have that kind of moment. So you do have those where you're like, oh, yeah, what am I sitting here for? And then you have the ones that you go, oh, this is great. Yeah. But it depends, I think, like that. So
yeah, for sure.
It's like that. But yeah. But this way, so yeah, back to the movie. So they go wedding to wedding, any wedding really, and I mean classy weddings. These aren't like,
oh yeah,
I'm gonna say it because we have a different word. I'm guessing they're not trailer trash weddings.
No, these are the upper set in Washington. Yes. They're probably all connected to political, the political set or the big corporation, C-suite folks. But yeah, these are big weddings.
Yeah. Now I always think, because as you say that, like later on, I was like, that is like really weak security in some of the cases. You're like, how would because these are expensive weddings. Like anybody comes in dressed in a suit, you're allowed in, kind of, or a nice dress.
To be honest, it's funny because as my wife and I were watching this, she looked at me and she's like, I'm going to be honest with you. Somebody could have done this at our wedding and I would have had no idea.
You would have
not. That's a great point. Because I would have just seen, if there was so many people I saw who I had never seen a day in my life because they're my wife's co-worker's husband. Yeah. Like people I would have, and that person could have told me, oh, I'm Uncle Ned's kid. And I would have believed that you were Uncle Ned's kid. So I could see it happening 100%.
And you've got two sides. So each person thinks he's with the other side.
Right. And then you got friend groups and all this that splinters off. It's just so easy to lose people in that shuffle.
There was me and my girlfriend she got invited. I was the plus one when we first started dating to one of her oldest friends, their family, and I was, I've been like dating a couple of months. You're like, okay, you've invited me, a bit weird, but let's go with it. So we think, and then I to be honest, I used to smoke. And so I was having a fag, as the UK people say. And then of course, the wedding photographer kept on going, oh, can you just stand here? And I was so polite. I was like, yes, I will do. And then of course, but it was the other side. So when it came to the groom side that I was part of, I was there as well. And they even said, do you know you're in every single photo on both sides? I was like, it was the photographer. He kept saying, oh, can you come in?
That's so funny.
And I'm like, well, okay. And I was like, I don't want to go, no, I don't want to be part of this. What are you talking about? I was like, no, I thought that would be rude. And go, oh yeah, I'll be in the photo. You might need an extra person. So yeah,
that is so funny.
It's like, you're in every photo, just random me, just standing in the back, like they didn't know who it was. Yeah, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, but yeah. So I can't say this next bit on the wedding bit. We see the boobs after boobs. So they're all their skills of lying and manipulation to get these girls into bed, work kind of things like that. So they know a good time, a couple of drinks, in a wedding setting will get most women single into bed, I'm guessing. And then of course, this is where you start getting the shots of DC.
Yeah. So I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow morning. Maybe I'll be there. This is the Washington
What, with
Monument.
a bottle of champagne?
Yeah,
Like-
maybe. Washington Monument looking actually no. It's so the Lincoln Memorial is currently under renovation right now. So I won't be sitting there, but that's the reflecting pool looking at the Washington Monument, and beyond that would be the United States Capitol. So just some beautiful shots of the Capitol, and all of those, great big old churches and other buildings around there. And then later in, kind of the penultimate wedding, that alleyway where they're standing, literally, I've been there 3 times in the last week. So,
Oh, no kidding.
I just forgot how much this was. I think in my brain it was all, because the Eastern Shore is featured so prominently in the rest of the film, but I forgot about all the shots in and around the city. But and again, they took such great care that no one would know except anyone who lived and worked around here, um, with all the little things. Like I said, pictures on the walls and books on the shelves. They really did take good care to make these guys, in their 20 somethings in 2005. That's exactly, a little older than you, Jay, but right my age. I mean, it's good. It's exactly the age that I was in 2005. So, just kind of sucks you in if you're local. In addition to, all of the flashy eye candy if you're just a young guy watching this film.
But yeah, so wedding season's over until Senator Secretary Clary, who is Secretary
of Treasury.
the Treasury. So they agree this is the wedding of the season. So they're going to crash the wedding of the season. So would he have security?
He would have Treasury. He would have secretarial protection, so it would have been, from the agency. But again, there's also that, like, you also don't want to appear rude if you question someone, like, why are you here?
And
and that becomes a whole thing. Now today, oh, absolutely, there would be lockdown security. No one would get in or get out for a one of the cabinet members for sure.
Because doesn't he even say like there's a welcome to one of the, I think he says secretary, and I thought, that must be Secretary of State, because he welcomes him like like quite prominently. So I was like, could they get in?
Well, in the film, so it is John McCain is in this film. So they talk about Senator McCain. He's there. James Carville is here. So those are two, like, James Carville is a kind of a party. I almost used the word operative. He's a leader in the Democratic Party. He's a huge fundraiser for the Democrat Party. And then John McCain, being the former senator from Arizona and vice president, who's no longer with us. I do believe he died. Oh, it's terrible that I don't know. I think he did pass away recently in the last few years. But who's who? Everyone here, tip top. But also, so the Secretary of Treasury is not just famous because he's a Secretary of Treasury. He's Secretary of Treasury because he comes from a famous family, which is probably why he was appointed. His family was probably a huge donor, right, to whomever is the president during, the fictitious president during this film. So they keep referencing, and later on they'll reference, old money, old family, prestigious family. So, there's definitely that background and tons of money in this family. So this is one of many wedding. Yeah, he's got several children. So this is, I guess, the older daughter getting married at this point.
But yeah, this is where you find out they do have their dossier on the wedding. Who they're going to be, what's going on, who's who, and who's that. And this is where we first see Claire. Who catches things like that. Now I can't get over brunette. Sorry, I because I get to watch it. Mean Girls. she's blonde. She's a
She's
blonde.
blonde,
Oh,
you know.
see, I see her as brunette. I actually
Do
see her
you
more as
know?
this, yeah, because I like this
Yeah.
movie a lot more, and I did like.
Oh,
I'll be honest, I enjoyed Mean Girls. I think that movie's very funny. I haven't
yeah.
watched it in ages, but when I was a kid and watched it, I thought it was funny. But
Yeah, she just
I picture her more like this with the brown hair
Oh,
because of this movie
do you?
specifically.
Oh.
I think I prefer
Yeah.
the brown hair on her actually too. To be
I
honest,
think it suits her more, yeah, to be honest, yeah. But yeah, so she's caught the eye of John, who's but I do like the next bit when they actually go and sit down and like he's like, oh, you know, like they're instantly on their hit radar. Girl in the hat, or like no, you can't have girls with hats on are needy or whatever he says. So they've got this kind of radar target going on, like did straight away. But yeah, so he's got John, and then of course, whilst the sessions they will get things. Ginger, I'm having a red or redhead, doesn't he? Whatever he says, he's like that.
Yeah.
That's mine. Yeah, that's So we get Gloria. That's it, and then of course, you dibs. Yeah, don't worry, because I've got. I want the other bridesmaid. So they've both gone right up there to the main, top table people.
The main
So they're
family,
like,
yeah.
the main
Can
family.
I just point out that none of these sisters look anything alike? One's
No.
blonde, one's
Blonde, brunette, and
one's redhead.
redhead.
They look nothing alike. And then, well, the mother does make the joke about faithfulness later on. So I was wondering if that was part of it or not.
Oh,
Because she says
God.
something about, me and the
what,
senator have been
she's
married
out
for
2 years, wasn't it?
and we've been
Yeah.
faithful for 2 of them. So I'm like, oh, maybe that is.
It could be. It could
not
be.
Yeah.
at all.
By the way, Jane Seymour, we have our Battlestar Galactica thread.
Yes.
into
Yeah.
This
Yes.
film, Jane Seymour with her few episodes on Battlestar Galactica. It took me a minute when, again, only on rewatch, I was like, is that Jane Seymour? Oh my gosh, that's Jane Seymour.
Yeah. That's what I do. I was like, I'm sure it's her. I'm gonna look it up. So,
Yeah.
And then you have who's also the priest.
He was the one that
so-
was in Inner Space.
Yep.
Inner Space. He's in one of my favorite TV programs from the 90s, Erie, Indiana, as well. He's been in so much. I like So, but it's he was he's just like a pleasant actor. That's the way to say. He always plays pleasant roles,
Not
even
Mr.
like
Bean, for sure.
in Space. He's pleasant into it. He's like that. So, but so they get the weddings all gone. That expensive wedding. Where's this in, Sandy?
This is the Inn at Perry Cabin in St. Michael's, Maryland, which I visited on Thursday morning. Unfortunately, 2 things happened. Number one, there's terrible cell service anywhere on this island. So my stream kind of cut in and out. It's very pixely. And I did walk up. So the road is on the other side. This is the front of the building, which faces the water, our beautiful Chesapeake Bay. But the road to the inn is on the back. So I did film the back side of this beautiful property, but I couldn't get it. I wasn't going to get around the front. That would have been there. There are very elite people who stay at this place. It is on my bucket list to stay there one night at some point in my life, which I won't quote how much it costs to stay one night here, but it's just completely outrageous. There's a very fancy restaurant on site. There is a spa, tennis courts, and then you have some hotels you go to, they have a shuttle bus that takes you places. This place has a yacht that will take you places. So beautiful location. St. Michael's is about an hour and a half from Washington, D.C., going east on Route 50 across the Chesapeake Bay, across the beautiful Bay Bridge. And then down there are all these beautiful little small towns that dot the eastern shore of Maryland that grew up as fishing towns. And they have a ton of history. This town, you have to watch my live stream. A lot of history in this town, going way back to the founding of the colonies, 1600s. For us, that's a long time, James. I know it's not a long time for you all, but this town predates Washington, D.C. and other big cities. So just a beautiful area. I highly recommend it if folks are in the area to take a side trip to St. Michael's. But an important, huge venue for weddings. So it's an inn. So people come in and they stay at the inn, and there's a whole bunch of beds and breakfasts all over
I'm
the place.
guessing it's
too.
very important if you're a millionaire, if you can do a wedding like that. Yeah,
Oh,
you know, with
rent out the
like,
place. Yep.
yeah. Like this guest, like when they do like the panning and everything, like from this, there's like must be 1,000 people there.
Oh, there's
It's ridiculous.
hundreds of people. And I don't know,
Yeah.
like again, they'd have to stay in every bed and breakfast on that island because they're the inn itself is not that huge. But yeah, just so beautiful. And what an absolute great location to film and to highlight Maryland's Eastern Shore. So kind of cool. But yeah, here they've all got their stories going, and Owen Wilson, John, he's going right for the secretary. He's studied up on his paper on the economics of something or other, and he knows it, and he clicks right away with the secretary.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It is like with the I'm gonna do what you're doing. I'm gonna do the balloons, and I'm gonna do the one with the dance with the flower girl, isn't it? So they've got that, but I'm gonna do that. So he does probably a trick that he does every time. I'm a mind reader, like everything's that and like that. So now they are both in the zone. It's like this is the story. We got to get this story to mash in, and to be honest, they're targets. They're not women at this point.
Nope.
They are their targets. They're their goal at the end of the night, kind of thing. Yeah, so we get that. I love this kid when he does a balloon. I want a bike,
bicycle.
I want a bicycle. Clown, make me a bike. Why are you shouting at me? Why are you shouting at me? Just make me a clown and make me a bicycle, clown. Like,
that's how these rich little brats act, for sure.
What is going? Yeah, I get everything my way. Do what I say, and then of course, with the flower girl dance, and then Jane Seymour's Catherine Cat. She calls her. I know she calls herself Kitty Cat at one point, but it's Catherine Cat, isn't it? She's like, "Oh, can you have a handle somebody your own size?" So yeah, they get onto that. Whilst of course the balloons work to catch the eye of Gloria for Jeremy. Yeah, and it's just they've just had that kind of. We're going to play the game. They do the dance, of course. John and Claire have their moment with the what are you doing for the speech, and he kind of gives her advice where she's really failing on the speech to do that. Whilst we find out that Gloria and Jeremy is off to the beach. He played the old card. We lost many a men there, didn't he?
Many men that day.
I can't do this. Yeah, whatever. And then I've got to go for a walk. So he goes for the walk, and they have sex. And
she turns like the tables on him really quickly.
Yeah, it's like instead of just that was a bit of fun. I'm a virgin. You're what?
I always hoped my first time would be on a beach.
On a beach, yeah. And then she goes into proper. To be honest, nut job, red flags. Yeah, red flags. Oh no, what have I just done?
We're gonna be so happy together.
Yeah. And even to the point, I love you. Okay, like that. So yeah, that happens. It's quite funny. And then of course we go back to Claire and John, who are thank you for getting me out your advice with the speech. Whilst they're talking, who turns up? Brendan Cooper. I can't remember his name. What was Brendan?
It's not Zach, it's Sack.
Sack.
Yeah, because I thought it was Zach, but it's Sack.
Yeah.
So Sack turns up, and right away, oh my God. So James in and around London, I know what it means to say that someone comes from the horsey set. They're just a little too, up their own bums, as you all say. They're just so snobby. Here in the Mid-Atlantic, we have the yacht set, and they are jerks because they have so much money they don't know what to do with it, and they're all on yachts and they all hang out on Wednesday nights racing up and down the Chesapeake. Yes, it's on Wednesday nights. This dude right away, he's nailed the yacht set perfectly. Whereas the Christopher Walken character, you can kind of get that he at some point he either has great respect for his position or he's had to work hard, even though, old family or whatever. He has some respect. This guy has probably just been born into privilege and has been given everything he's ever wanted his entire life. What a jerk. He plays it so well.
Mm-hmm.
You hate him from the first minute. You hate him. Absolutely.
Yeah, when the production, apparently they did the casting. Apparently he was in there like less than 2 minutes, and they went, "We love you, you've got it." So he must have gone in there like
he turned it on.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm going to be a moron," like that. Yep, that's it. That's all we got. Because even how he even like we first see his introduction, he's a bit of a slime. Let's put that. He comes across like, "Hey, I'm," with his perfect chiseled teeth and all that. You straight away you don't like how he's like, he's just his mannerisms are perfect to somebody that's like, I don't like I'm here, this is me, you're over there, even though you're next to me. I don't, you're not part of my group, just go away. I don't need to associate with who you are, even if you're really nice. I don't know it. So, but yeah, she get the calls, then introduce Claire and Sack are boyfriend and girlfriend. What really puts a damper onto John's conquest, let's say that. So whilst that is happening, of course,
that is such a great shot. Yeah, oh my God, that face.
So they come back. So Jeremy's like, we've got an emergency, such and such Klinger. We need to leave.
Stage 5 Klinger.
Stage 5 Klinger. There you go. Where
Violet Beauregard from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, she's just and Veruca Salt. I mean, they demand it. They demand it.
Yes. We've got, and she says we've got a getaway island we go to. So we're really rich. So after the event, they're all going there. Now, I always found two things. Though she has her tantrum, Christopher Walken, the senator, or kind of agrees we're going. Yeah, Chris Vaughn's okay. I get this, but I don't get this next bit, and I mean the timings, because this is the major wedding people. These are the things. Most weddings go into the night, don't they?
It's probably been a 2-day event anyway.
But
I probably, but they have, this is what people with money do. Like, they get on the boat and they'll invite anyone, and they have rooms for everyone. But I mean, normally they don't leave, but they're.
Yeah, I guess like in the same breath, it wouldn't surprise me if like a select group of the elite did leave, because it does seem like the wife and groom don't leave. I don't think, because I don't remember seeing them throughout these scenes.
No,
so maybe they stay since it's their wedding, and then they kind of like, the elite family members.
Maybe
it wouldn't be super surprising that they would peel off and say, "Oh, let's go to let's go to the private island," or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. So as Daryl has pointed out, the Cleary house is in Easton, Maryland, technically Oxford, Maryland, but good sleuthing there, Daryl. But yeah, they're heading out, and prominently displayed on this vessel, and then later when we see the schooner Woodwind, you see the wonderful flag of the great state of Maryland, the only heraldic flag among the 50 state flags in the United States. Looks awesome in the sunlight and on the water. So these shots are just amazing. They did a
surprisingly surprisingly really good cinematography in terms of like some of those shots, and I don't mean that in like a condescending type of way, like, oh, what's a comedy? Comedy's got no business having shots this nice, but I mean, it does. It's got really nice looking shots throughout the whole movie.
I was wondering if they were like some of the ones, when they do the river and they do the DC backdrops. I was like, I wonder if they're stock footage, because they do
That's
look
good
very,
to be.
they look things, and I wonder if they're like, oh, if you need that sunset drop, they're already there. Like, you know, like they do that. I wonder if they, or they, yeah, as you know,
I mean,
might have done
if
things.
they did, you credit to them for picking some really good choices for stock, you know, stock images and stock video.
Well, it made me think how many days of filming they would have had to wait to get these beautiful blue skies. Because sometimes, depending on the time of year, you know, like recently we've had cloudy, foggy days for like 5 straight days, but then like on Thursday you'll have a beautiful blue sky, but you don't know. So they must have patiently waited for these shots on the water for beautiful days.
The best wedding day, clear skies, no weather, things like that. But yeah, so they get off, and of course, touch football.
It's a family tradition.
It's a family tradition. Go on, as a non-American, why is what he does later touch football?
It's not touch football.
Well,
at the point where he goes overboard.
Oh,
I'm guessing touch
is
football
just two
5 versus 5, 5 versus 5.
Yeah, whatever the numbers may be.
Yeah.
It's, you know,
but
small
you
numbers,
don't
not enough to field real
head
teams.
to head, head to chest, head to knees.
You could do touch or two-hand touch. So touch would just be if the defender gets one touch on you, you're down. But when we were kids, we used to do two-hand touch. So you had to get 2 hands on the player, and then they'd be down. You know, considered down.
Yeah. And there's flag one, isn't there? You do.
Yeah. There's flag football as well, where you rip the flag off the waist belt.
Yeah. And then, of course, so they all go off ready, and then we get introduced to
Todd. Gru, right?
Yeah, I thought the same thing, Sandy. I'm like, I never realized how much his outfit was a Gru outfit.
Yes,
like the scarf and everything.
The scarf.
Oh, I did not get that. So you just said that. Now I'm not. You know when you can't now unsee.
You can't unsee it now.
No,
I wonder if the design of Groot had any influence from this, because I mean, it is literally the Groot outfit, scarf and everything.
Yeah. So they're getting ready. It's like he's not. He's a painter until we can find out exactly.
He's an oddball.
He's an odd. Yeah. And of course, all the women are getting nice things, and of course,
nice outfits.
They get their outfits. And I always think it's fine. Is like because even Vince Vaughn. There's a reference when he's doing the play of like I feel small in your arms, and he says I'm 6'5". He is tall. So, but they were like, all the clothes fit. Like they have spare clothes for a 6'5" person. Like what?
If they have
an
guests,
NBA player?
they probably do. You know, in these estates, they probably have guests coming all the time, and they have spare clothes and spare rooms. And I just must say, this was another scene where I just kind of took a little step back, paused the video. Not this exact shot, but when they show the home, that's all me. That whitewashed brick from the 1600s with the portico, the pre-colonial, you know, sort of over the top Georgian style. Oh my God. I love this house. I could just.
It is really nice.
I watched this film for so many different reasons. But the architecture is one of them.
I think Mr. Q really picked this out because it reminds him of you. I think there's a deeper meaning to this.
I'll tell myself that. He'll say, no, what are you talking about? Like, no,
I just love Vince Vaughn.
Which is true.
I think there was some deeper meaning there for sure.
These homes on the water are just fantastic. I did a boat ride around Annapolis a couple weekends ago for my sister-in-law's birthday. And, you know, these homes on the water. Oh my, we went past Cal Ripken's former home. He's not there anymore. And some of the other ones where you kind of know who these famous people are who live there. And it's just, these houses on the water. If I can dream. I can dream. But that's definitely the life.
So would this be like Nantucket for you guys, Sandy? Like that kind of idea?
Yeah, this would be like our shore, you know, Eastern Shore. If you were wealthy, even up until like the 1800s. And Daryl had put in the chat, the DuPont family owned a lot of the homes because the Eastern Shore of Maryland is on the other side of the Chesapeake Bay from where I live, and it's attached to Delaware. And the DuPont family pretty much settled northern Delaware. You know, DuPont Chemical Company comes from there. Is that
DuPont, like Foxcatcher DuPont?
It is all of that. It's DuPont. It's
interesting.
It's DuPont Chemical. It's Henry DuPont, who pretty much revolutionized the American artillery during the Civil War. The DuPont family, there were a lot of public servants, and then DuPont, who created had a thing with Alfred Nobel, and created a lot of damaging, horrible weapons, just like, so Nobel went and decided, you know what, I'm going to devote my life to peace and create a peace prize. And the DuPont family sort of did the same, because they had created, I think, gunpowder and some other weapons of war. And so they turned to be huge philanthropists because of that. Sort of like they're the Nobel family of the United States. But anyway, they owned a lot of the eastern shore of Maryland. Unfortunately, a lot of those homes were also the home to slaves and slave owners. That side of Maryland was huge for, and still is today, for corn, tomatoes, not tobacco. And so slave labor was used on those estates as well, unfortunately. And there's a great history there, however, of supporting the Underground Railroad and abolition over on the Eastern Shore. So that part of Maryland was not aligned with the Southern Confederacy for the most part during Civil War. So we've gone way too far into history, but this is what happens when there's a film filmed in my backyard. But
can you explain this then?
I can't. And we don't wear
it's
that.
A rugby. That is
rugby.
rugby.
Yeah, I was going to say that's rugby.
We don't wear this. We don't.
That is that when he was. I was like, but we did say my girlfriend was like, he's wearing rugby, and I was like, if he like, he gets a bit excited about he's doing that, and then he takes a hit, and I like it because Vince Vaughn says in one of the things that he was all state or something, or something, and I was like,
quarterback.
And then I was like, one, he just body charged him, should be able to take that hit. And then we all had the discussion. Can you imagine he did that against a real rugby player? Like what they would do? Be like, get here, drag him off. And like that. Yeah, we're doing a proper. Yeah, I was like, no, that would be funny. But yeah, that's rugby. That is a rugby kit. That is a real.
Sure.
But then I was like, well, maybe he went to a school because
I was going to say like a rich kid like that, boarding school or something, maybe. Yeah. Probably more often than they play just regular football, I would think.
Yeah.
Or like polo or something. I don't know. What do rich people do? Do they play football and basketball like the rest of us?
I don't know. Rugby, polo. I don't know. So, but yeah, it did make me laugh. I was like, no, that's a
tennis
rugby.
and golf.
Yeah, tennis and golf. Yeah, for sure.
And a bit of cricket. There we go.
No, I feel like the rugby fits for like a rich kid
for this guy.
Yeah, especially for the character.
100%. Yeah, it did make me feel like, oh, you go to or you've come from an elite school, and they don't play.
Yep.
You don't play your soccer, your baseball, your American football, or whatever. You play rugby polo. That's your sport. And probably fencing.
Yeah.
Oh, and sailing. He's
right.
They all sail for sure. Fencing, I think so.
Yeah, but Christopher Walken kind of likes the attitude that at this point, doesn't he? He's like, well, you're, and he's like, he even says you're grown from great stock or something, like 5 generations or something of good stock.
A large family.
Yeah. And it did remind me when he said it, I was like, oh, this is like, it's one of the ones, even if you fall in love, you can't marry them or you can't date them because just in case they're not not us. Let's put
not the right family.
Yeah, it's like that. So yeah, so is Jeremy's down, can't breathe. Yeah, so they get things.
Played it very well when he had the wind knocked out of him. I can't breathe.
And then of course now Gloria. Let's just say she's still 100% turned on.
And 100% nut job for sure.
Yeah. In his just fast-paced delivery, off of her, just chaotic, crazy. It's so good on both parts.
Yeah,
it just works so well, especially with where they end up by the end of it too. The whole they really are. Like you said earlier, I think Owen Wilson is billed as the star, and I think his love story with Rachel McAdams' character is meant to be the kind of driving force of it, but these two carry the movie in my opinion. They do such a good job.
100%. Yeah, without this, it would be kind of a bore because they are the comedy hit between them. They've got great chemistry.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Thing. Like
I laughed out loud,
and I think they all have
happen very often. Yeah,
and I think they all have good chemistry. To be honest, I think Owen Wilson and Rachel McAdams, Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, obviously these two, like they all have really good chemistry. But the two of them, I mean, like fireworks. They're so good together in this.
Yeah, and I'm sure this must have been one of at least her first Hollywood role because you won't know her, but she's from Home and Aways, I believe. Like it's Home and Away of Neighbours. She's Australian, so her accent's really good. If you actually listen to her real accent, she is a proper Aussie. She has that proper twang about her. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of chat. I'm sure she's Home and Away like that. But yeah, she came from Home and Away. She then was married until recently Sacha Baron Coyle.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've got like 3 or 4 kids. They've like I think something like that.
I thought they were still together. I asked my wife, and she was like, "No, they just divorced recently."
Yeah, divorced like maybe 5 years ago, like that. So yeah, they're her things. But she likes a comedian. Let's say that she likes a funny man. But yeah, she's one of the Australian ones that came over from Neighbours of things. And I think we had that the other day, didn't we? When I said, "Oh, they were from Neighbours." I can't remember who it was, but
who was that? I remember you saying that.
I can't remember that. Yeah,
but here, yeah,
but they have like what's her name is Margot Robbie. She's Neighbours.
Oh, had no idea.
Yeah, she's originally from Neighbours. So you're who's got his name? Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman.
He's one of them. He's from that. Yeah. So yeah, it's like
all the Australians come from
all the Australians.
Is that the Australian EastEnders? Is that what it is?
Yes, Neighbours.
Okay.
Home and Away it's literally that. Home and Away is set on a beach. Neighbours is set in a cul-de-sac. That's the only way I can say it. And they have their things, but I think Home and Away is still going. I think Neighbours has been cancelled for the second time like that, but it was like one of those ones that have been going since like the early 80s.
Oh wow.
So yeah. But
this was definitely her big kind of Hollywood breakthrough because everything else is just small, like shorts and TV movies, an episode of TV here or there.
I like her. I think I think she's funny. I think she's very an attractive woman, and she's a good actress. I think
it's not easy to play.
I agree.
Nut job. It's not easy to play nut job.
And I don't get like when she did this, I was like, oh, she's going to do really well, but they're never going to give I think this point leading ladies as a comedian, not going to give it. You're always going to be the subpar, as the sex fiend nutter and like that. But as this is happening, Christopher Walken gives his that's my daughter, and I'm a very powerful man. I'm very powerful, and I was just like, God, that's like, was it New Jack? Is it New Jack City? Is it like what is it? I can't remember what it is. Where he's like the gangster. I was like, oh, you've just gone proper like New York gangster on him. He's just like, I can take you out here. I miss him in movies. Like I know he's getting to the end.
He showed up in Dune Part 2, which I was not expecting.
Oh, really?
I did not realize he was cast in it leading up to the
very
whole movie.
Small part, but yeah.
Oh yeah, very. But
he's
yeah,
good.
and then just turns around and it's Christopher Walken all of a sudden. I was a little taken back.
Yeah,
I like Christopher Walken. I just was not expecting him to show up, and I had no idea he was even cast in the movie.
It's his voice that.
Oh, it's just so.
I can't get how I need to pronounce everything.
I couldn't begin to try to do his
no. It's great. I love that. But he's an iconic. He's going to be one actor that's missed. And like you have some, great scenes. But he always has great scenes that are very politically incorrect. Very, very much so. Like I'm sure it's called New Jack City. That he's the gangster in it. And then of course, True Romance.
Romance.
Those scenes.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. It's just like you're very, very good. He's a great actor. But yeah, it does what he does well. But yeah, so they've been now invited to dinner, and of course they're doing a Downton Abbey. We got to wear suits at dinner, So you
Change
have
for
your,
dinner.
yeah, you change for dinner. I do like changing for dinner. That makes me so like I change for dinner, but I do like a change for dinner.
If I change for dinner, it's into sweatpants. That's about it.
Oh, I do like a dress up for dinner. I do.
If I'm going out for sure, but at home, oh no, it's sweatpants and a sweatshirt. That's it.
See, it's suit, bow tie. My girlfriend thinks
We're not cultured. We should be.
By the way, it's just a bow tie normally. But yeah, so they get that whilst there. He's do you need the tears, the liquid for the tears, what he showed earlier?
Visine.
And he's like, no, I'm okay, until he starts talking about an otter that he once cleaned, thinking he's like, yeah, hand it over to me. And of course we get the first one of the grandma, and of course we get we get them at the, let me go a bit because I forgot the picture. There we go. At the table of a very, very laid out, very sophisticated dinner. So is this a daily thing? We don't know, but they start having, conversations of who are they, what are they? And then I just brought it up because we can't say what she said because
oh my god, we can't say most of what she said, what she calls Todd, what she calls other people. Oh my goodness gracious.
And
Grandma,
do you know what? It was one of the. I don't know if it was funny when I first saw it because them comedy moments was. But did I find it funny now? I did, because you don't see it now, and I was like, oh, that's a bit cheeky.
It comes out of nowhere. Yeah. And it's like, oh
yeah. Well, I think it's one of the things too is the package that it's delivered from. It's like you just don't expect this little old lady to say the thing she's about to say.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, she gets that, and of course, we're gonna go for a walk. Oh, I need to change my shoes. And then whilst that's happening, of course, Jane Seymour,
Cadet Serena comes in her like in Battlestar Galactica, the scene where they're changing in the locker room. That's she's wants to be inspected.
Do you like my she thinks she even calls them tits, don't she?
My new set.
My new set, and
her
that's
new
it.
set, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, Owen Wilson. So I do like this bit because I did read up about this. So apparently, Owen Wilson was afraid to touch her, but Jane Seymour was not just go like really confident and things. Apparently, he was like really really nervous about this scene where he had the like Coppola. Let's just say that. But she was like, just do it, like get it over and done with. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at her. She must be pretty proud of herself.
I don't blame her for being that confident. She's in her 60s, 70, I don't know, but good Lord, kudos to that woman for keeping it together.
Can't blame her for that kind of confidence.
That's it. But yeah, so she's grab him. He does, and then he's just like, they do a great job right now. And he's like more
being
about
all clinical. And then she's like, okay, out of here, you weirdo.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I think it's great. But then, of course, he meets up on the way back. Vince Vaughn character who's like, we gotta go like that, and he kind of says, "You've just been grabbing the mum's boobs. We need to skedaddle over this." But he's still got eyes on the prize, even though that he's the boyfriend's there. They seem quite stable. The family have got money. She like way out of his league, like by who they are, but we're gonna do this. So
he's smitten.
But at the table, what we forgot is he has spiked poor Sack's drink, and he's had to go off, of course, violently ill, with an upset stomach, let's put it that way. So he's puking his guts out. And then, of course, it's just again, it's very simple, kind of where they are now into relationship. You get it in a lot of movies. They're asleep. I can't remember the movie they do it really well in. When like there's one person, the mum wants to sleep with the boyfriend, and then the daughter, and like they go around. It's like I can't remember what movie it is, but then they go rooms and they're all trying to get things.
They're all changing rooms, and
It's like
I can't remember either.
Oh, yeah, chat if you remember it. Yeah, but it's and it's got that. Oh, was it do music? Oh, that was like really 80s. Sorry, just going off thing. But yeah, but this is their things. But whilst this is happening, I just had to show the foot of the rope because that's really all I can show. Really of that thing is Gloria tied up whilst Jeremy was asleep, and she's going to perform. Let's put it that way, very politely. They need to take their relationship to the next level. What's been 8 hours like that. How he got he's a deep sleeper. He's got tied up on a four
poster.
Four poster bed very easily with some very good rope work. And she's fully in the buff like that. Ready for a time. Let's say that. So his
facial expressions. He's so
terrified.
good in this. It kills me.
It is. It's terrified, but then he finds out it's terrifying. But I'm very turned on by it.
He likes it. Yeah,
he likes it. He likes it. But so we get that. We get the interactions of the room. He finally falls asleep, and then a hand arrives on his chest, on his feet, and then
Todd
turns up. What did he call it?
Tied.
Pencil.
Tied up.
And he's like,
God, what did he say?
Pencil belly or something.
I know what he said now. I just thought of it, but I'm not sure if it's actually an appropriate thing or not to say.
I don't really want to say it.
Yeah,
no, I don't want to say it.
I won't say it. I'm actually not sure if it's YouTube appropriate or not. I've never heard it before other than this movie.
He did say something, and we were like, I don't know what that means. And we did not know that means.
I don't know what I have an idea of what he meant.
You kind of get an idea of what he was doing. He's
I've never heard the phrase.
Now we find out that Toby is a very concerned individual.
Right.
Yeah.
Grandma was right.
Grandma was right. He is very disturbing at the same time.
He's not right.
And he's been painting.
Yeah. Oh yes. I'm gonna give you I've drawn
I've made you a painting.
And I loved it because apparently Vince Vaughn has that painting still.
I love the scene later when he's like, "No, Todd, you made that for me. I'm keeping it."
Yeah, it was a gift. It was a gift.
One of the things about this movie that makes it so hard to kind of quote is Vince Vaughn's delivery on stuff. Some of the one-liners you can quote and keep going, or the stage 5 clinger and all that. But there's so many parts of his delivery, even just this scene here where he's just the way he's acting back with Todd, the fast, high pressured kind of speaking and all that. Todd, you have to go back in the closet, go in the closet now. That whole thing is just, it's so funny the way he acts it out, but you can't really reenact it yourself. It's not like a Wayne's World or something, for example, where you can just quote some of the jokes. It's so much tied into how he delivers it because he's just so damn funny.
But he's still tied up. And he gets Todd to go into the closet because someone's at the door.
Ta-da!
And it's that, and he's still tied up. He's still tied up at this point.
And I like it because he goes down.
See it? Does he not notice it? I guess he doesn't notice it.
But then he goes. He does.
Well, because
and he's because it's Jeremy says, "Oh, I'm having trouble sleeping." So he sits down and says, "Oh, yeah, Todd has night terrors." Well, that's what the doctors say to us. And he starts talking about something, and then he kind of looks at the rope, and then like his sailor brain goes in. It's like, that's a good knot. He's I'm not like, why is he tied up? That's not your one. That is not one of your questions. Why is this guy really tied up?
I've always interpreted it as, I think at first he kind of realizes who his daughter is and how she is. So he's like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense. This is Gloria.
Mm-hmm.
But then he looks up and sees the painting and realizes the painting comes from Todd. So at that point, he's like, all right, okay. And he just gets up and leaves.
Yeah, it is like that. I'm too confused. It's like if you were a concerned dad, you'd be like, yeah, this is just I can't. I'm going bed. I just literally, your brain just couldn't comprehend it. You're like,
yeah, I'm
not
processing this one right now.
I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of one of those, I think there are 2 or 3 very subtle subplots here. And one of them is here's this powerful, uber successful Secretary of Treasury whose kids are really weird. Like, and wife, his relationship with his wife is non-existent.
Yeah.
His mother's another nut job. His daughter's a nut job. His son is a little offbeat. Somehow he's come to terms with that. He's not yelling and screaming. He's a very powerful, important man. But somehow, okay, this is my life. Here I am. And if there's a man tied up in a bed, I don't know if it's my daughter or my son that's done it. Oh well, there's a man tied up in a bed. It's good not.
Yeah. It sells the scene
Rich or
so
weird.
well. It's got to be one of the funniest, like just kind of back-to-back portions of the movie with Gloria and Vince, and then Todd and Vince, and then Secretary. I mean, it's just, but again, it's all on the back of Vince's performance. He really does help carry this movie.
Yeah. So the weirdness happens now we got in the morning. So again, John is look at this spread. Like, my God, can you imagine waking up? I bet they do it daily. I'd be like, great, this is amazing.
They do.
Oh, I do miss being in the Royal Air Force, just going in. Sorry, Army guys, but you got shit food.
But I did want to mention there are a couple of scenes in the film. It's in the beginning, that montage of all the weddings, where Vince Vaughn is just stuffing his face. Every scene with the cake, he's not just eating the cake; he is shoving food into him. And then here, when he finally makes a plate, he just makes this huge plate and then douses it with syrup. I know everything about maple syrup. I love maple syrup. Just, oh my God, it's kind of weirdly sick to watch him eat.
Yeah, but I wish that's kind of, I don't know if the director, whatever, kind of played him like in a bit with his food reactions to Animal Farm with John Belushi.
Oh, it could be.
That's what he does.
Yeah,
like
there's
the bits like that.
Buddha Blutarski. Yeah.
Because when he's like, whoop, and he's like, oh, when he gets the tray of canapes, he's like, gets them, got some spice. He loves his food. And then it like, even when they're playing it, he's like, go, whatever you do, if you find some crab cakes, bring them back. And he's like, we'll do. It's great. But he's pleading to him again. Look, can we go? This is like, this isn't what we do. If you don't nail it on the first night, then we need to bow out. And then he plays rule number 1: you never leave a crasher behind. So he's like, they've got this rule set. What I find is funny, like I always, the rule set always reminds me of now I've seen the movie. No, it's years later, of Zombieland. Like rule number 1, but like it would have been quite funny if they kept on. No, I know they do it a few times, but kept on
a few more rules.
The rules. Yeah,
I think we get 1, 8, and 76. I think we only get 3 of them.
Yeah, so like really like absurd, like just really absurd rules of like, even like when we see later when Chaz comes in, it would have been of good of him to have gone, oh no, now I've created a new set of rules for this scenario that we're getting to later. But so we get Sack. What? Yeah, are we going to call their kids Sack?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sack.
Rich people, I guess.
Sack.
I don't know.
Rich people who don't have anything better to do.
Sack.
So he's suspicious of, as he should be, and he wants his friend to check out these two using their phony names. And the company that they say that one of the companies that they support is Holy Pants and Shirts, which is a company that uses sustainable wool to create thread so that homeless people can create their own clothing. That's what so he has them from New Hampshire. So he has an investigator look it up and
he gets his mate, doesn't he? He's been playing tennis in the morning, blazingly. They're from the same alumni. Is that what we've been right?
I am very hopefully That ring that they're both flashing looks very much like
the
a
blue
Naval
one there.
Academy graduation ring. I hope to God they're not playing that these two could not have gone to the Naval Academy. But yeah, it's some college, probably a Ivy League school that they both went to, but not the United States Naval Academy. Heck no.
But that's so while I'm talking about Navy,
this is the schooner Woodwind. I've been on this boat. So this is a boat. It's
exactly the same number.
Woodwind 2. It is docked in Annapolis, Maryland.
Oh.
And after this film, it became one of those,
Sorry, Sandy, you got an echo going on. I don't know what's going on there.
So sorry.
Oh, I don't hear it.
I have got an echo. Yeah. Is that like chat? Like, yeah.
Do you hear it on me as well? Or?
No, just Sandy. Go on, carry on, Sandy. Sorry. You got I'm hearing you twice.
I'm sorry.
Jay not.
This is it's yeah, I don't have it playing anywhere else. This is docked in Annapolis, Maryland, and you can book the schooner Woodwind for an evening cruise. On Tuesday nights, they have beer tasting. On Wednesday nights, they do participate in the, I'm going to say it, the obnoxious races up and down the Chesapeake Bay, where all the yachty people do their racing on Wednesday nights. But I was on the ship for a wine tasting and a sunset cruise, which was fantastic. And so, yes, you
That's
can.
a small hold, though, isn't it?
The schooner. Yeah, I think there are like 15 people, maybe 12, 15 people on it. But yeah, you can look up the schooner Woodwind. And if you're in the area, you can book it for a lovely cruise on the Chesapeake Bay.
There you go. There you go, Jay. You been in a schooner?
Never.
And after this film, of course, all of the
I didn't know what I've been on that kind of thing, but I didn't know if that's.
I've been on many boats, not sailboats, and it's funny because my wife and I, while we were watching this, we were kind of just like, I don't know, I don't get the whole rich people sailing thing. It just seems like too much work. Sailing, yeah, do you? Okay, fair enough.
I don't mind it.
It just seems like a lot of work. I just kind of want to sit on a boat and enjoy the waves in the water, you know?
No, because once you've got it done, it's set up, and you're kind of out in the things. Unless something happens, it's kind of
cruise control.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, it kind of controls itself. Yeah,
I've been on a lot of boats. I grew up. My father always had a boat, so I'm familiar with being on the water, just not in sailboats.
There you go, Pirate Jay here. But yeah, so we get again. We need all the change of clothes. I do like that. We need the change of clothes that fits this is where they're rich. They have clothes that fit with what they're doing exactly like that, even when they have like he looks like something out of Jean-Paul Gaultier a cologne advert, doesn't he?
Or Dior.
Yeah, but yeah, so he's also gets found out, but not entirely, because he's said previously, oh yes, I'm into my sailing, and yachts and all that. And then this is where starboard's that way. He's like,
no, he doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing. But she bails him out, so she kind of knows there's something going on there.
Yeah, so they get their little bit of like time alone because, of course, Sack is ill on the mainland, I suppose you want to call it, or their little island, until we comes back. I just we're going hunting. So
quail hunting.
Quail hunting, yeah. Though he is and I do like his little speech here, because Vince Vaughn picks him up and goes, but you're an environmentalist, and then he kicks off. He's like, do you know what they're doing with the local
overpopulated
environment?
Now, I have not gone quail hunting on the Eastern Shore. I will let you all know now. Hunting is a big thing over here, but I have not. No.
No, but I did find it funny, and of course we're going to it well, and oh
my God, Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, it's funny. It's just and that he was so excited to be again. I'm invited to the next thing, but yeah, he's looking at that, and of course, Sack wants to injure him. Let's say that by let's do something, and everybody else is. Things something is up with Stasis's mic. Oh, is it?
I don't hear anything.
Is it me?
You both sound fine to me, and chat said I wasn't echoing. But
okay, maybe it's me.
Let me check on the YouTube side.
Do. Is it my fan? I have a fan, so if it's echoing, I can turn down the fan slightly. Let's go. Let's just look at the Owen Wilson's lovely white teeth for a while. So it was nice. Let's find out if it's me. Hold it. Is that better?
Yeah, everything sounds all good to me.
Daryl is shooting.
Daryl, if it gets worse,
Damn you! Damn you! Maybe it's just kind of like I can't understand his accent now. It could be that, but of course, in the movie, so we get that, and then butt shot.
Oh my god!
That.
Ow.
That isn't. I'm guessing easily done with the remedy that we see. That is time for hospital, isn't it?
Yeah, that's 100% a trip to the hospital. You're not just plucking things out.
Well, depending on what shot they're using, though. I mean, I'm getting.
I don't care what shot. I'm being asked. I'm asking somebody to take me to the hospital.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
right.
not trusting a pair of tweezers.
Yeah. So whilst he's getting examined, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go for a little bike ride," and I had to give that because I just clipped his picture very, very well. It was like that. So, but like she's like sorting him out, like and he's like, I hate you, and they're like, yeah, because he's still trying to get his leg over, and he's been shot in the
shot
in the buttocks. Let's say that, like you've got to really like your mate, like that. If you have like everybody knows the wingman and taking one for the team, Jeremy bloody goes above and beyond, and there's rules, and he goes to the extreme. He's just been, he's having to now, put up with the nut job that at the moment he's indifferent about. He's, now being shot in the buttocks, and things like that. Whilst his mate is still no close to sealing the deal. So it's like, if you actually feel like you'd be seriously pissed off. But yeah. Now, so they go on their little bike ride to the beach. This looks like any kind of park ride that you would do in UK.
So about this scene, this is the only one that is completely impossible. So they're bike riding to a beach that is about 50 miles and another 2 islands over from this one, on the Atlantic. Directly on the Atlantic Ocean. So where we've been so far is when I keep saying the eastern shore of Maryland. Maryland is bifurcated by the Chesapeake Bay, and the eastern shore are all the houses on the bay side. The ocean side is many, 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 many miles. I don't know, in some cases, depending on what beach you're going to, 40, 50, 60 miles. And then you have to go over big highway bridges because it's a series of islands on the, they're all barrier islands. So where they're bike riding to is filmed at Assateague Island, which is our national seashore, which is right on the Atlantic Ocean. This could not have possibly happened. So I do have to say that this, you can't bike ride. Well, it would take like a day and a half to bike ride from, where they were over to the actual ocean. You're not that close to the ocean where this is.
Yeah, they could have just done it. We're going to go into a meadow, because the next scene is kind of like just there to do
on the ocean.
What do you call it? We call it slapsies.
Oh, slaps. We call it slaps.
Slapsies.
Slaps.
Yeah. Because that's the same thing. Like, ow. Yep. So, and then you get to the extreme, like you want to do knuckles.
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh, you done knuckles?
No.
Instead of that, do it with your fists.
No.
You go, bosh. Like, you don't do it with girls.
No,
we used to do, it was called bloody knuckles. It was similar. You'd essentially put your fist down on a table, and the other person would just like have a quarter on the other side of the table and just use their thumb or their finger to essentially slide it or fling it, but in a slide form across the table right at the other person's knuckles. Whoever quit first lost.
No, thank you.
What?
It was called bloody knuckles.
Silly boys.
Yeah.
New Englanders, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
This
they get
this
that.
is when we were as kids, mind you. I don't know what the hell made us play that as kids, but yeah.
Well, toughened you up.
There we go. Yeah. But yeah, so we get back to the thing where now our look, I like this because if you had to go by, I took this picture, sleazeball.
Sleazeball, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like it reminds me of like he would have played a good American Psycho.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, he could pull it off actually.
Yeah,
well, could have more so.
like kind of like that, yeah. Because I'm like this point, I don't remember. I know he became like Hangover and all later, like all the other ones. Like, but this movie, like, he's not a well-known actor, is he?
No, I think
I
it
don't
was
think
Eric.
so.
He had been in some other rom-coms.
Like, but I mean, like, this is
and
like
then
the
Big
background.
was, I would say, Big Break was probably The Hangover. That was what made him a household name at the very least.
Yeah, because like, maybe like this one, oh, you're getting your face out there, but I like you don't like his character, but Bradley Cooper plays it bloody well.
He does.
Like that.
Give him credit for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, whenever you really despise a character, it really means that the actor's doing a good job. So fair enough.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say at this point of the movie, and I'm gonna say to you, would you agree, or just be quiet, or step up if your boyfriend or girlfriend said we're getting engaged and you didn't know nothing about it, or we're getting married?
Have you asked me first?
Like,
are you sure? Are you sure about that? Are you 100% sure about that? But no, and I think also because she keeps hearing her dad talk about, two great families coming together. And I think she doesn't want to disappoint him. And again, that's that kind of thread about him being, the dad that he is and having the family that he has. They probably don't talk a lot, and they all do what they're supposed to do. So he does what he's supposed to do as a dad, and she does what she's supposed to do as a daughter. And we don't find out until later, how that really is. But she's not gonna say no because I don't think because it'll disappoint Zach. I think because it'll disappoint her dad.
Well, yeah, because I think even to that point, like there's a bit with what's his name? Secretary Clary. Is when he says, "Oh, because of Todd, he's going for president. He will be one of the next presidential electors. Nominees. And there are certain people in the United States that are sympathetic, I think they say, to Toby's plight." I'm like, oh, like that. I think like so they kind of he's up there with the big boy straight away. Like if he's got money, he's got coming in. He's got some good backing, and of course, Toby, has to be. Oh, he's been passed away. And then, now, you might be good to my political career because people there's a certain portion that might vote for me because, I have let's just say it, like homosexual son. It's like, it's funny because it's that time standard. Would it be done now? No, they would not allow them jokes to come in. But
now, do I keep saying Todd? No, it is Todd.
Is it Todd?
Todd? Toby. It's Todd.
Do I say
but
Todd?
He looks
Todd,
like a Toby,
Toby.
though.
Yeah.
He looks like a Toby. But it's Todd.
Yeah. Sorry, Todd.
No, he looks like a Toby for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so when we get back, that's been the cliffhanger until we get back to the priest. It's always there that we haven't seen, and of course, he's now taking, I suppose, what do we call it? Catholics.
He says here, have some of the sacrament.
Yeah.
The big, huge. Confession. You mean
confession and sacrament and all that?
But he hands him like a quadruple shot of whiskey.
Yeah, like not even that. It goes up to the brim. It's okay. It's like, yeah. But then so Jeremy is telling he's I didn't know she was a virgin. I didn't know this, and now she's a nut. Like kind of like spilling the beans, and I just like it because he's just
And
like
it turns me on.
I would just sitting here. I would just sitting here, and I'm just I always laugh. I do like this bit because I like anybody who's in that kind of, I suppose, that kind of set. If you're like a religious, like a priest or whatever, or you're like a psychologist or whatever. And then people, you don't ask for it, and they go, "Oh, I know who you are," and they think they can just go,
yeah, they just unload.
No time off.
Like,
yeah, there's no downtime. You're always on duty.
I was just sitting there having my like ham sandwich. What are you doing? Like that. Like, yeah, I do like it. I find it very, very funny. But whilst that happened, of course, Sat gets his phone call of the from their private investigator of who these guys really are. Now, I'm guessing they must have had photos because the description that they were earlier wouldn't have led to anybody going, yeah, because fake names, no photos, fake company. But of course, who's pissed off more than anybody else? It's Grandma. So get off that quickly. So because of YouTube, but yeah, so now it is confession time. It's they've been outed as wedding crashers. They all got to kind of tell their piece, kind of things. Claire's been with John all day, really. So he's now got to kind of, say who he is. Yeah, it actually is me. But I think the best thing in this is, again, Jeremy's point is when they're all been outed. They're all get out, get off. And he's like, you're weird, but I dig it. And I think that's great because that's the point where he realizes, where we're talking about later, is he needs to change. He's like, no, I actually like this girl. Like she's that blase or whatever, but she's as he says, I kind of dig it. That's my girl, and that's it. And he's realizing
it's not till he realizes that she matches his crazy. Like at first he thinks she's just some kind of pathetic clinger, as he calls her earlier, like some pathetic clinger who's just going to be stuck to him and all these kind of things. And then he finds out, oh, you actually match my crazy. So it's a whole different ballgame for him.
Yeah. That's it. So they kind of get, leave again. So it's like that. And then it kind of jumps forward. I'm guessing like we don't get the time thing. A couple of months, maybe like 6 months, because I'm guessing like there is a good time period, but we get them back at their normal day work. He's getting, of course, a phone call of Gloria, where then John comes in and says, there's an engagement party. We've got to go. Now we find out from his brief discussion, he's been calling, he's been emailing, and she's been not ignoring. So this is his chance to kind of, I suppose, tell his piece, like that.
This is it. This is his last stand, right?
Yeah. So he kind of makes other things. I'm 2 steps ahead of you. I've got the waiter's uniform all ready to go. So he's got, like, we're doing this, you in. Kind of agrees, but things like that. Again, I'm going to do it. A lovely another
perfect shot.
Perfect shot. Sandy, where is this? But Jay. No, let's go for Jay. Jay, where's that?
California, right?
St. Paul's Cathedral.
It's modeled after St. Paul's Cathedral, architected by William Franklin, who was ripped
it off then.
Yeah, the general who led the 6th Division of the Union Army during the Civil War, who had to be pulled from finishing the Capitol because he had to go lead the army in the Civil War. But used St. Paul's and other iconic buildings.
Union Army, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Like you just said army.
Union Army. Well, U.S. Army would be the Union Army, but facing west. And you can kind of see, so the Capitol Rotunda, the pillars around the base of the round part there, the dome, are glass, and you can see through it. So you can kind of see the sun through it, which is just absolutely
It is
beautiful.
beautiful.
So,
That shot I like because it's just like, oh, we've got it. Move on. I love that. Like even if you were a photographer, you'd be like, done. That's it. Bye. That's it.
It's so easy around there. I mean, when you've got a good day or a good night, it is you can't mess up these shots. It's just so beautiful. And it is a hill. It is. Capitol Hill is a hill.
Okay. So you get a
easy
good,
it's easy to take. There's
you're always going to get a nice sunset.
There's nothing in the way.
So apparently this shot is crap because everybody gets it. That's what Sandy's saying. Okay.
No.
And the building was written off by Christopher Wren. Bloody hell.
No.
It is honestly. It's something that I think, at least me, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing, but you don't. I know at least I don't appreciate the architecture of that building enough, or really any of the kind of historic buildings. I've started to appreciate, especially being in Boston my whole life. There's a lot of architecture I just walk by that I never think of that I've actually been giving a better look to because of Sandy and Sandy's shorts and her live streams. Because it is honestly fascinating to see some of the architecture that's there. I mean, the building I work in Boston is about 100 years old itself. So just to look at that one sometimes, cool. And it's the building I walk in every day and like never think anything of. And sometimes you just stare at it like, wow, this has been here over 100 years. I think
it's everybody now. If I have to say one thing, is slow down because everybody's going to A to B too quickly.
Yeah,
just slow down. Look up.
And you're like,
look up and look down. Yep.
Like your head's down, or it's buried in your phone as you're walking through the city and all that. It's like you just don't appreciate things like this enough. Like the Custom House in Boston, all that, things like that have been here for ages. Like beautiful to look at, and I walk by them every day and don't give them enough attention. So I've been trying to because of you, Sandy. So you've inspired me to give architecture more respect and more just appreciation.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate you saying that. It is. It's the look up, look down. Don't just look straight ahead. Even in a lot of the areas where you go from a Chipotle to a Starbucks to a whatever, but some of them are in. If you just look up and look at the second floor, the third floor, sometimes it's actually, I hate to say it, it's actually good that there's a Starbucks there because the building itself might not be there if there weren't businesses on the first floor, ground floor.
That's why I say, like, there's literally, and it's really, really simple. Outside of Waterloo Station, I think it's one of the east exits. There is like this white horseshoe, and it's a concrete horseshoe. That is it. Like, it's around about 5 foot in the air, and it leads to nowhere. This literally, it's got stairs that leads to these metal barriers, and it's so like doesn't look like anything. You can walk through it, everything's, and it is an old nuclear bunker railway station.
Oh, cool!
So
I'm putting that on my list.
If it happened in the Cold War, that is anybody around that area. All the portal people would have gone down there and gone on the secret railway to Oxford and all other places. One in Oxford, one in Essex. That was old nuclear you go to. But it's just like it's there still because it's massive like concrete, and people just walk past it and they don't know.
It's like Torchwood. Ooh, people walk by it every, Torchwood, Doctor Who, whatever. You walk by the police call box. You don't notice it because it's because people aren't paying any attention.
But anyway,
back to the film.
Jay
has a hard out shortly.
So we get Owen Wilson's John. He's turned up at the back door. Who kind of I don't get like this bit because he I'm not going to shot is with the I'm guessing the main butler of the house.
Yeah, the butler.
There wasn't much interaction with him,
and I forgot that it was him who kind of let him in the back door in this scene.
So he's giving him
because they try to. It's almost like something got left on the editing floor because they set up that this guy doesn't like Bradley Cooper's character whatsoever, and Bradley Cooper character treats him like a servant, like house help or whatever. Butler, could think of the term. Treats him like a butler, like doesn't have much respect for him. Treats him like the help. Treats him like he works for him. Even though he most likely works for the secretary's family, not Bradley Cooper, but that's Bradley Cooper. That's his character. Sack, he's an entitled rich kid. So you work for them, you basically work for me type of thing. So like they set up that little bit of animosity. And even that's really not that much. I think it's like one quick little thing that establishes it, and then you never kind of see it again. I feel like there must have been some connection between Owen Wilson's
think
character and
so.
that guy that got
'cause
edited out of the movie because it just doesn't make sense.
No, because there's one scene we get Bradley Cooper and the butler as like, "Are you watching TV? That's not what you get paid for." He's like, "Yeah, I do." Like
Yeah, that's what it was, right?
Like it's very much that. Yeah,
and it's like obviously they don't get along, but he doesn't like. There's not enough to show.
No.
Even if the idea was he doesn't necessarily have a connection with Owen Wilson's character, but he just hates Bradley Cooper's character enough that he'll do anything to kind of undercut him and screw him over.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of,
enough of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was underlining scenes that were just a bit on the nose, a bit more grandma, but a bit more. Ooh,
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, we can't do it.
Just cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah, something's missing there for sure, but whatever. It's a way to get Owen Wilson in the door, so you can accept it in this type of movie.
So he gets it. He's there making the worst decorated cake in the world, and even the chef comes up and goes, "Okay."
Dousing it with brandy, I'm like, getting ready to set it on fire.
Are the waiters going to do this? Wouldn't the chef do this? I'm like, are the waiters really going to be the ones messing with the cakes? Like the other chef just kind of comes up, watches him, and doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
I'm like,
nods his head. Okay,
I'm pretty sure you would get your head bitten off in a kitchen if you started messing with their food. I mean, I've never worked in one, but from what I understand, I'm pretty sure that wouldn't fly.
But again, very, very nice engagement party.
Burke's. Yeah, they call it Burke's, but I think it's so the alley where he walks in to the back of the hotel is the back of the Willard. Yeah, I walk there all the time. The club that I go to is literally across that street. They've got the camera angle to make it look like an alley, but it's not. It's a street. And so the Hamilton is is across the way, and this is probably the back of the Willard Hotel, and then straight ahead, way in a distance, you can probably see, another restaurant there. I think not the Old Ebbitt Grill, but another one across the way. But this is where not too long ago, when Tommy visited, we went and we ate in the Hamilton across the street there. So Tommy, we were right there. We were right there. And we didn't even know that's where that scene was filmed. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice. Excellent. That's great. But yeah, so after we get like the fancy one, we kind of get them sitting down for the meal. Everybody's chatting, having a bit of good time, except for one person. Who is actually should be celebrating. Claire looks depressed as anything. This is the only time the dad kind of
he realizes it. Yeah.
Yeah. What is going on? But they quickly slip down to Owen Wilson. He's there, but he gets caught out, dragged outside, and two punches. Let's just say that. So yeah, 2 punches, done and dusted. If you come back, I'll kill you, kind of threatening. Yeah, so he goes off with his towel between his legs, pissed off that Jeremy wasn't there to back him up.
And then he finds out why.
Yeah, he goes back. Now, I'm guessing they share an apartment then?
No, so they're around the corner. This is in Georgetown. This is on P Street. The letter streets are all in alphabetical order. So A, B, C, D, E. And this is P Street in Georgetown. And they're showing 2 houses around the corner from each other. And you can see there's one shot like where he goes around the corner and he left a note on the door, but they're supposed to be in 2 different houses. And the only reason I absolutely know that is because I did look it up on IMDb to find out which houses they were filming at. And it did give the addresses. So I do know where these houses are now. So,
but yeah. But of course, Jeremy's with his love, and he quickly explains, even though, I didn't stick up with you, I kind of love her. So the the next scenes are really like a very, again, it's like the beginning of the movie, like a montage.
He's spiraling. Yeah.
So we get her is like, she's getting very confused because everybody's arranging the wedding for her. Kind of in like, well, if you have this, you have that. If you blah blah blah, and then of course, whilst she's doing that, we get Owen Wilson's gone back to wedding crashing, but as a solo, and he's depressed. Well, let's say
Oh,
that.
he's violent. He's absolutely
yeah.
violent and
Yeah, so
angry.
yeah, he's like things even to like the point telling kids there's no thing
No such thing as love. And there's no
It's
such
like
thing as
that.
friendship.
So he's
Yeah, I'm starting to think there's no such thing as friendship either.
yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, he's literally lost all mindset. So he's going all over the place. And then of course they go back to Jeremy and Gloria, and he goes to propose. But just as, and this is why I think this like her bits are great, because he's very like thoughtful. He's very mindset of what we need to take this to the next level. We need to like things. And her first idea is, oh, do you want me to have sex with those 2 Brazilian girls we saw in I love it. It's like, and he's like, and then the thing is, no, I thought we'd get like engaged. And then she's like, and he's like, and then his bride goes, but also that's a great idea as well.
Well, and it really shows like that makes him love her more, her reaction, and it makes her love him more, that's what he wanted. And
yeah,
and it's that it is the quote that Owen Wilson said. It's the definition of true love is when 2 souls find whatever it is,
their counterpoint.
Their counterpoint, and
they found their lobster. They found their lobster.
Yeah.
It's cute. I do like their. It's great. I think that, as I said, I think they steal it. But
now,
this,
I don't think you took a photo of. There's a point in time where they're both missing each other with Owen Wilson and the Vince Vaughn, and they're both watching a ball game, and it's the Orioles. And they're winning. So they're
there you go.
Watching an Orioles game.
Okay, just to point out who are propping up the division and who are propping up the second part of that.
It ain't even funny. Yeah, it ain't even funny.
No, I don't know. If I have to say back to it, I'm going to go back to the beginning of the season where Jay said, and I have the quote near enough or paraphrase, that the Orioles have got a great chance this week. This year, we're probably coming. We're coming second or third. Orioles are bottom, and then it's the Red Sox.
In fairness, my Red Sox are surging. They're getting some wins. They've made some weird moves the past few weeks, but apparently it's working because they're getting wins.
Like, but every time it's funny because
I really did.
Now, chat.
They're over 500.
I keep on putting up that on our private Discord that. Every time there's bloody baseball on the British TV, and every time it's only been once, but every time it's normally the Red Sox. Every time they've done it, they've lost.
Of course.
When I did it once,
of course,
for the Orioles, they were winning.
Of course, it's the Red Sox, and of course, they're always losing. That makes sense.
Yeah, they're over 500 though.
Yeah, we just snuck above 500, so I'll take it. But I don't think either of us have World Series in.
No, we're not gonna brag this year.
Nope.
No.
So I'm trying to figure out where this flower mart is that they're at. There is not a flower mart like that. This must be definitely for the film because there's not a flower mart like this in DC.
I think this is the first security we see for the set.
No. Yeah. I'm about to say that guy is in one of the beginning shots right at the end, and he's doing exactly the same thing. So this is where, like, there's security. They're like a flower, whatever kind of posh one, and things like that. But this is the first time he's actually having a conversation with his daughter.
Yeah,
and he realizes, and he kind of vaguely goes around, skirting around that. You do what you need to do. I love you all the same. But he skirts around the issue, and he's just like, he's one of those fathers. I'm busy until. You kind of need me, so it's like that. But yeah, she kind of plays her hand, kind of very subtly, that this is happening. Like she doesn't want to marry the guy, it's like that. So that happens, and of course, when we get that, Jeremy finally, after he's trying to get in touch with, after answer phone messages,
he's reading the book. Don't Jump.
Yeah, and this is another case of like
Yeah,
the dialogue
what it is.
between them is so funny, but it's just so hard to quote because
Yeah.
the humor lies in how they deliver it and their chemistry. But just the whole like the quickness in, by the way, I'm getting married. And he's just like, get out. And then he hits him with the like, I'm reading Don't End Yourself books. And you tell me that like the way they deliver it is just so good. It's so hard to quote their humor in this movie because it's just it's their delivery.
By the way, we have another Pepsi product placement. All the pizza boxes and and
on the
and bottles on the
Yeah.
table, and it's Pepsi, Pepsi, Pepsi. So just letting you know, it's Pepsi World, and it's the right choice.
But yeah, so John isn't looking too good, and he's like, "Well, what you been doing? I've been wedding crashing. Who you been doing with?" And he lies. Been doing with Chaz. You don't know Chaz. Yeah, and why? Because he doesn't know Chaz. So after what you've just said, he goes off.
He goes to find Chaz, and he is in a not so good neighborhood. This is not the good part of DC. If this is DC, I get the feeling this is more Maryland. The Virginia suburbs of DC are much more she than, well, I'm sorry to say, once you get into Maryland. Sometimes it looks like this. And this is when I mentioned that there are other threads to this film. This comes out of nowhere. The Chaz storyline comes out of nowhere. It's very compact, but it's very impactful. This storyline is really important to kind of the redemption arc, on the part of John here. I was getting sick of Will Ferrell at this point in time, but I like this character, Chaz.
I agree.
What a scumbag! Could talk about a scumbag. I mean, but he wrote the book.
Yeah, and the meatloaf was another one of the iconic ones that got quoted for like that. And it's funny because as soon as he enters the film, you get one of those more standard, easily quotable comedic kind of portions of it from Will Ferrell versus again Vince and Owen, where it's so hard to quote what they do comedy wise. But as soon as he's in it, you get the meatloaf, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But he says, you live with your. He says, you live with your mother, and he goes, nah, this is my mom's house. It's like, but what? Yes, that means you live with your mother, dude.
Yeah. This is good. This is good, Will Ferrell.
But I've done. This is what you probably don't know. Will Ferrell got offered Vince Vaughn's part, and he couldn't do it.
Oh, I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah,
oh my God.
But then he was so busy, he nearly didn't do this part. And it got the option 2 with Nicolas Cage.
Really?
Oh, weird. I don't know how that would have been, but I think this is great. I think he's great.
Do you know you just got nunchucked? Nearly got nunchucked.
And then just Owen Wilson's like almost like he's dealing with a little kid. He's oh wow, that would have hurt. Like he knows this guy's not all there. It's
not all there.
Again, another just like weird chemistry between them. It's a little bit more awkward, but it's meant to be. So like they have chemistry too.
But yeah, so he
I guess they would have worked together in Zoolander actually. Also, so like these guys all know each other. You know, this between
like 95 and then from
what was his name?
2010.
Mutaku.
Yeah, Mutaku. Yeah, I think that's it, right?
Whatever his name was.
And Hansel.
But Chaz has graduated from wedding crashing to funeral crashing, and this is where the redemption happened because Owen Wilson's like, this has gone too far.
He plays up to it until he realizes. He looks across and goes, "Oh, they're actually like I'm here to pull, and there's somebody who's in real distress because they've lost their
love of her life.
life.
But what I love about it is that even in this moment, because he sees the widow, and obviously that's where he kind of realizes, what life should be about, or ideally, it's still just funny when we get to the church scene where he's like, but Chaz might actually also be a genius. He's cleaning up out there. Like, jeez.
So matter-of-factly, he says that.
Like he's, as much as he knows it's wrong, the wedding crasher in him and the goal of the wedding crasher. Yeah, it's like, he can't let it go. It's like, yeah, I know it's not right, but it could be genius.
Yeah. So after that realization, even though we skipped over that Jeremy has, you need to be my best man.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so the wedding's happening. I'm not honorable. I don't care what you're doing. If your best mate asks you to your best man, you don't turn up late. You're an ass. You're an arsehole.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this whole scene. John's the arsehole. I just found it is because one, okay, you interrupt a wedding and it's literally near the end. They're doing their vows and it's a big wedding. Okay, you've got Vince Vaughn and he's the best man. They get that. But then he takes it over and makes it about himself.
That's the biggest. That's the biggest one of all.
I'm going to say something. Most weddings, and I'm going to be really male female, is about the female. Is like that. It's all set up. It's all about that. You know, most men.
Mine wasn't about me. I can tell you that right now.
No. But I'm saying, but the flowers, the like, we just got to wear a suit. We wear a suit. We wear a little, a pin. That is it. Like doing your hair takes out ages. Jay, did you take 2 hours doing your hair?
God, no.
Exactly. That you don't do that. The makeup, the hair. It is that prep, and then him to come in and take it over. Oh. As the bride, you're gonna be pissed. So yeah.
And also, I will say it feels a little bit forced to try to make this dramatic, they're finally getting together scene, because like, keep in mind, this has to be at least roughly a year later, because when Vince Vaughn comes back and Owen's character is reading the Don't Jump book, Vince Vaughn's back to celebrate another birthday sleepover. So this is a year later, roughly. Maybe 7 to 9 months, if you want to say maybe that birthday took place like 2-3 months at the beginning of wedding season, versus when this was the initial wedding they crashed to meet these people was at the end of wedding season. So whatever, somewhere within 7 to 12 months. How is she this affected just by the sight of him? Like,
oh my God, I never noticed that. And that was
enough. Like,
sorry, Jay. Jay. Can I break it? You're completely right, and I never noticed that before. And we had an argument is how long this would be, but that is it with the beginning bit with the sleeping bag, isn't it?
Yes, it's got to be at least like 7 because
you just answered. You just answered the question. I can go back with Jay and go. Oh my God! I did not even put them two together. Oh my God!
So it's got to be somewhere in that range. Like, let's say 7 to 12 months, somewhere there, because we'll figure the first birthday, 3 months of wedding season, and maybe a late fall wedding, and then they're back at another birthday. So let's say 8-9 months, whatever. You guys did not have this kind of relationship that, like, the sheer sight of him and a couple words from him would make you have to interrupt your sister's wedding. I just, this is where it gets a little too forced cheesy for me. I can't buy that. And then, like, also, nobody in their right mind is going to ruin somebody else's wedding for their own relationship drama. Never mind with a guy that you knew for 2 days that you didn't really know because he told you he was a venture capitalist from New Hampshire. So this is where it's like, I just wish they tied up the story a little bit better than this big dramatic wedding scene.
Yeah, 100%.
And it makes you not like either of these, not makes you not like them. It makes you not like what they're doing here because you hate to see them being the main character of somebody else's wedding. You still like them by the end and you're happy they're together. You're just like, oh, that was really obnoxious of the both of you.
Yeah, but that's it. Like they get there, like, and like 100% when he does the line of, you don't have to be with me, but I don't want you to marry him. That was interjected, I bet you, at the last moment because they realized this scene doesn't really work with him pursuing her because at the moment, and I'm going to have to be honest, he's a bit of a stalker.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he's behaving like it. Yeah. And also somehow, I'm sorry, I was just going to say, timeline-wise, just occurred to me, somehow Vince Vaughn and his engagement to Gloria skips ahead of the engagement of the other two they should already be married. Yeah. I mean, again, people's engagements go different lengths, and I guess they do try to push the point because I think when she's talking to her father, Christopher Walken, about their Gloria's engagement, she does say something like, "Isn't this kind of fast?" All that. So I guess maybe they're trying to say it was so fast.
I think there's things like, like Christopher Walken's character, like he does say, like Gloria's her own person. Right. We can love her, but I've just got to look after her.
But and again,
okay, so they're like, they kind of now out of the family, but we're still in with the family, so they don't have to say like what Sack and Claire are doing, because Vince Vaughn's character is quite headstrong, that he'd be like, you're an arsehole, you're an arsehole. Like that year, as you say now, you'll be like, well, yeah, it's going to be like, look, Claire, you don't have to date John, but he's still a twat.
Right.
Because he's absolutely, he's a twat waffle.
And you just kind of think with how unhappy she was, like this situation would have already been, this is a year later. You would have already either been married or called it off at this point. I would think,
except it's like probably the social wedding of the century, because it's the two most powerful families. So it's probably, that's probably why, because it's going to be even grander than his other daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
So
fair enough. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah. Could be, but no, finally, good points, both of you.
But finally, she gets I don't like the delivery. I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. I can't marry you. Like, and it just pisses me off, because do it somewhere else.
Yeah, again, like, just it's too obnoxious, too center stage. Yeah. This is like, can we go speak outside? Like, this is one of those moments. This isn't in front of everybody at your sister's wedding.
The only thing I can think of, because that didn't bother me. I mean, it's odd.
Oh, it did. It does. That's weird, because it bothered me.
These aren't just strangers. Like, this is really your best friend and your sister, who probably have been rooting for you, whether you know it or not. So maybe, because they think it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, and they definitely seem to be totally okay with it. Obviously, we'll talk about what Vince Vaughn does next. And they all hop in the wedding car after. So, they definitely do seem to be rooting for it.
Realize this is probably going to be reported in the papers.
Of course. But that's okay. It's love. It's love.
I do.
Deus ex amor, whatever, it just has, love wins, it just has to win.
But yeah. Smack him in the face, comes in over, charge in.
That.
I had this, buddy. Yeah, I know, but like that.
Yeah. But he deserved. I mean, after he flattened him on the rug,
and shot him in the ass with a bird shot or whatever.
Yeah.
Isn't it a good smack? And then of course we get
for that opportunity.
Now, again, I like. This bit's weird. Why is the best man and the bride made in the car?
This is
their wedding crashing.
Yeah, I guess to Sandy's point.
But they're wedding crashing later. So now, okay. So they're now driving away. Now you've got to time scale. They don't really explain it. This has to be after the reception. Has to be.
Maybe they skipped the reception.
You would think it would be by our logic of weddings, but this looks like it's right after the ceremony.
Yeah, it does. Yes, it looks like it's directly afterwards.
But you're overthinking this, James. You're way overthinking this.
Well, I think this actually speaks to Sandy's point of I think the reason it kind of goes over all right with them stealing the show at the actual ceremony is because Vince and Gloria's character, I was going to call Gloria's character, Isla's character, Gloria, they are rooting for the two of them, and they do just want to be all four of them together. So, the only thing I'll say about that is I don't feel like the sisters showed that kind of relationship. Like, I guess right? They don't look like it. Like the two friends, I can see them being like that, but the sisters don't feel like they're that close that this would be the, and
there was never an interaction, was there?
Right. Not really, other than her just kind of talking about her in certain Rachel McAdams about Gloria. There's not like that, the tightness that the two friends feel more like siblings than the two sisters do.
No, but so in the meantime we get Will. What's his name? Chaz. Chaz. He gives his old and he gives his little wink. Brilliant. The comical timing of that interaction is great. So he's like, what are you doing? He's like, yeah.
And then he just does it to the old guy next to him too. It's just like this is one of the times this movie what's the other one? Old School. These are some of the times when Will Ferrell was like still funny, and I still enjoyed seeing him in movie roles.
So yeah,
I like him in the Lego movie. Don't forget his serious role in the Lego movie.
Yeah. And of course, then of course they all agreed to go to a tempura. So I'm guessing some Chinese, East Asian wedding to get some tempura. And they're going to be a country. What do you call
band
it?
from California.
Folk band. No, from Salt Lake. Folk band from Salt Lake.
Yeah, that's it.
So this bridge, this is the bridge that goes from the Rock Creek Parkway to the downtown area. I have walked I've walked there. To the right would be the Jefferson Memorial and all the cherry trees if they were blossoming, and straight ahead is, you can see the Department of Interior building. There is that red brick building sort of to the left in the distance, and then beyond that would be all the Smithsonian's. So great shot of that bridge. How cool is that?
They did a lot of like these nice symmetrical looking shots with the landscapes and things like that. It really did. I gotta say that it's
nice car. It was nice car.
Like, it was impressive to notice that this time around, because the times I'd watched it before, that just wasn't what I was looking for.
No, but yeah. So then it fades out. Movie done. That is it. And
it's Wedding Crashers.
We got the Wedding Crashers. Now, Jay, we're gonna go to you because we know you got a hard out.
Yes, so I got an extra couple minutes here so that I could just finish the movie. Yep. But so I'll go quick. I love this movie, honestly. It's so nostalgic for me. It just brings me right back to my teenage years. And when this movie came out, it was a huge hit. Everybody in school talking about, have you seen Wedding Crashers? And quoting, the silly things that at that age we probably didn't even totally understand. But I just love this movie. I think it was a great era for these two actors specifically. And kind of like we were talking about, that whole group of guys there who are doing these comedy movies together. But it's just a good, heartfelt movie. Like, it's not that serious. It's not trying to be anything too profound. It's just a nice kind of rom-com that doesn't feel like a rom-com, that just feels like a comedy with a romantic storyline in it. And both the romantic storylines between obviously Owen Wilson and Rachel McAdams characters, Vince Vaughn and Isla Fisher, both of those work really well. There's even a little bit of a nice kind of father-daughter storyline in there too, where you definitely get, like, kind of like you said, Stasis, you do get the feeling that Christopher Walken's dad, obviously with his position of power, he's not a dad who's there for every baseball game, every dance recital, but he does seem like he's a dad who wants to be there when his kids need it, especially his daughter, who kind of is the, Rachel McAdams' character is kind of or Claire rather, is kind of the most put together of his kids, I think we could say, except the eldest daughter. We really don't see her past the wedding. But
her wedding vows were really weird.
Yeah, the sailboat stuff. That's right. So we don't see much of them, but Rachel McAdams seems to be kind of like daddy's princess type of daughter for him, and so you get a little bit of a nice father story there as well, or father-daughter, and I don't know. Just in general, I really like it. I think it's funny. Like I said a few times, it's hard to quote the humor in this, because they're not one-liner jokes. They're layered, fast-paced delivery, super charismatic, and ton of chemistry dialogue between the two characters, at least the main characters, but also, like we said, Isla Fisher and Vince Vaughn, the way they steal the show. They're, to me, the two funniest characters, I think, individually and together on scenes. So long-winded response to this movie, cut short here. I give it a 6. It's a recommend. I love this movie. It's not a 6 on like the Oscar movie scale, but it's a 6 on just the good movie. You can watch it, have a good time. It's heartfelt, make you feel good, type like Mr. Q said. It's a happy ending, and happy endings really are awesome. I know we always the three of us talk about how we don't always need them, and we don't always need conclusive endings. Sometimes we like to let our minds fill in some stuff and all that. We all have our different tastes, but I think we all have the agreed upon taste that happy endings are awesome. And that's a great way to put it, Mr. Q.
I will let him know you said that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Jay, you get off. Thank you for that
note. I do have to jump.
Jay, I'm going to leave you one question.
Yes.
Do you want to live forever?
Do I want to live
And you'll
forever?
find out next week with Highlander.
Oh, right, because I haven't seen it yet. Right.
Oh
There
my
we
God, I
go.
forgot you hadn't
That's
seen it.
right.
Oh,
Yes, I haven't seen that one.
And
Oh, I'm
Jack
actually really
Sandy's
looking
like,
forward
what?
to that.
here we are, born to
Yeah.
be kings. We are the
I'm really
princes
looking
of the
forward to that,
universe.
actually.
Oh.
That's
There
going
we
to be
go.
one that I definitely watch early this week, way ahead of. I don't think I'm going to be able to wait till Friday.
I would guarantee if you watch it early, then you'll go, you know what? I want to watch that again.
Yeah, fair enough.
I do. I hope so. Anyway, otherwise
of all the things I've heard, right?
There we go. But yes.
All right.
Anyway,
on that note, guys,
Sandy, have
I
a
do got to
great
jump.
rest of the other.
Bye, Jay.
Bye, guys. Take
have
care.
a good nappy
Thanks,
change.
chat. Thanks for being here.
Bye. Bye, Jay. Cool. There we go. Sandy, I'm guessing I've got to go first because it was your husband's pick.
I'm going to let you go, but let me put the numbers up really quick.
Okay, cool.
Just so we can give this film actually the commercial credit that it's due before we give it our opinion credit. This film was made for a budget of $40 million, which is about 67 million today. It made $288 million. It was considered a definite box office success. It was the 5th highest grossing film of the year 2005, the year of Revenge of the Sith. Oh my gosh. Here's what was happening in 2005. Revenge of the Sith, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Okay, for me, my second least favorite Harry Potter film, but still a great, a good film. War of the Worlds, which I didn't see. Chronicle of
I
Narnia.
don't like it.
You don't like it, or you liked it?
I don't like War of the Worlds and Chronicle of Narnia. Watch the BBC version.
No, but a couple of other films. So that's your top 5. But a couple other films in that same year. We had Batman Begins. It would have been,
okay.
Yeah, it would have been number 7. And then, okay. I think people are split on this one. You either love it or you hate it. I do kind of love it. Madagascar. Has your son
he's watched it? He likes it. I've kind of walked in. I've never watched it, so
I like it.
Yeah. So it's one of those ones. 2005, anything between 2003, probably 2007 was quite hard for me to watch. But yeah,
you're a little busy.
Kind of you're a little bit busy. But yeah,
busy.
Yeah. But anyway, before we get on to the thing.
Go ahead.
No, exactly. I'm going to put the chat out on misery. Lucky enough that I don't get how we got a tie. What was John's nickname for Jeremy? And it was Baba Ganoush.
Yeah.
0%. 0% was horny halfwit. 40% and 40% was Baba Ganoush and Kevin's a cock blocker, and then 20% was Baba Hotet. And that is a Bruce Campbell movie. so terrible chat. Terrible on that.
I think
that
we
poll
know
there.
the chat does what the chat wants. You know what I'm saying?
I believe Abe has very good influence like that. But yeah, anyway, so this movie. Okay, so I'm gonna guess just for the time scale. And just because of what I was doing at the time, I'm guessing I watched this movie 2008. Must have been 2008. And I liked the movie. I must say, it's one of those movies where we had a lot of this kind of not similar movies, but the similar actors doing the similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think we've spoken about it, but like Dodgeball and all the others. For me, this is a movie where I don't like the main 2 characters.
Oh, okay.
I don't like Claire and I don't like John. I think Claire is okay, but she's a bit whimsy. She's a bit like, I just go with the flow. Next person. Oh, he's a bit different. She comes a bit across as like, oh, you're not in my sphere. I like you. Because you think about the time scales of everything. This is me overanalyzing it on the second or third view. It doesn't make sense that she would give everything up for John. and I mean that in a way. Okay, you're not going to go with Sack because he's an arse, but John's a bit of a weirdo.
He's a lot of a weirdo. Yeah.
Yeah, because even at the point where John, okay, he realizes, okay, you can go by the point, love at first sight. He's there and he's lying. He's you know, alarm bell's gone. He actually loves this woman, love at first sight. I can believe that. Okay, but then when he gets found out, what does he do? He goes into depression mode without going, I need to change myself to win this woman over. He goes back to what he did originally and just carries on. Whereas Vince Vaughn's character changes himself.
He does the changing. Yeah.
He does the absolutely positive aspect. So he realizes, oh my God, psycho woman, as it goes, I love her. Oh, I need to change. I'm not going to be that person doing what, what we did before. Whereas instead of John tried to improve himself to show that, look, I'm a different person because I've been emailing you, phoning you, blah, 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 and you've still not responded. I'm just going to do what I did. And then he goes, my next outreach is Chaz. And Chaz is the
even more horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, even more horrible. So for that aspect, I just don't like him. But if you go by that, it's funny. It's a funny, good movie. It's an enjoyable watch. And I mean that is in a heartfelt sense. But in a way of these two things, if somebody went to me and said, give me a comedy, that time period where I said we had the old school, the dodgeball, all that kind of thing, Will Ferrell, Ben Stiller, all that, if they said, give me a good comedy to watch, that would Wedding Crashers be it? No, I would give it, another movie. But if somebody come to me and said, oh, we're looking to watch Wedding Crashers, do you recommend it? I'll be like, yes, watch it. You'll love it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Now, my score is a bit lower than Jay's, and I think that, and I'm going to be a bit harsh because I think this is a Vince Vaughn and was it Alicia Fisher movie?
Isla Fisher.
Eyelash Fisher. I think that's their movie, and I think, unfortunately for me, I just don't. I just think Owen Wilson. I just don't like his character. So for me, it's a 4.5. But it's a recommend. If somebody said, "Oh, what that movie?" If they went for that time period, I think. But it's not a disagreeable movie, and I think that's because I think like Zoolander, I think is funny. I think Dodgeball, I think is funny, and I think we get more than that. Even like I said, Wayne's World, but I would still score them as like a 6 at max. I'm not gonna. They're not. And that's me being critical. Is if I go by, and Jay said it, are they Oscar? Are they? They're not. These movies aren't. They're there to just be enjoyable. So you can score them lower, but still go, bloody enjoyed that. That was a bit of fun. You can just take you out of the moment. It's just a little bit of fun. Is it the creative movie comedy wise of that era? I don't think so. I think there's better ones. I still enjoy it. Would I go back within 10 years? Probably not. That's the thing with this movie. I just think it's a good. Oh, if it's on, if somebody said, "Would you watch it?" I did enjoy watching it again. I did, but yeah, it's that's it. But yeah, I don't need to see it again. That's it. That's the problem with this movie. But yeah, I got it. Like that. I'm glad I saw it again because I was like, why Wedding Crashers of all the movies? Like
of all the movies.
Wedding Crashers. That's it. I appreciate watching it again because this had to be like second or third time. So I appreciate your husband picking it because I wouldn't have watched it again. And I've got that, your head, what you used to watch kind of canon, I suppose you want to say that. So it's a good movie. it just sits there. It just sits there. That's it. But yeah. So yeah, appreciate it, but probably won't watch for a while. There we go.
Fair point.
Mm-hmm.
Fair
Sandy,
point.
over to you. And now, Sandy, you are now speaking on the behalf of your husband as well. Did he rewatch it with you?
No. So he's been out of town. So he had to send me his write-up in an email, the write-up I read earlier today. But I too would not have chosen to rewatch this film had he not recommended it. But I think we both will sit down and watch it again together because we've never seen it together. And you know, my view, as you all could tell throughout this review, was completely skewed by all the things I was looking at in the scenery and the settings and everything around here, all the homes and the, you know, the schooner and the artwork on the wall and the books on the shelf. So my brain was quite distracted. But as for the story, I think it does exactly what my husband said it does. It's a rom-com with a happy ending. And you know what? That's okay sometimes. And he would probably be the first to say that I overthink films. I do like you know, he said he didn't like to be scared or psychological thrillers. I don't like those either, but I do tend to gravitate toward more serious films and leave the silly comedies up to him. But you know what? This was a good to use the term like palate cleanser. It was a good switch. It was a good change. I did like the kind of, I mentioned kind of those underplots, you know, the juxtaposition of Chaz, who might have been someone that they both admired, you know, as the guy who invented wedding crashing, to seeing him as just a complete, you know, horrible person. And then the story of the family and the father were good stories. And I agree. I don't think Rachel McAdams is a good character. I think the two main characters, the main couple in this film, are the two male leads. They're the couple in this film to me. I give it a 5. I do recommend it. And a 5 is a good rating. It is a strange adventure with a simple happy ending that you might or might not agree is plausible. But it's a good, happy, feel good ending. And I liked it. I did enjoy it. So that's a 5 from me. And I really, as always, enjoyed chatting with you both about it. And I'm sorry I went off a lot about schooners and 17th century mansions on the Eastern Shore.
When we were watching it, we were like, Sandy's going to have something because we've seen all these areas on your walkthroughs.
Oh my God. And the architect, and it didn't, you know, when I saw it way back when, I just, you know, you kind of overlook those things.
Yeah.
And I guess you think in your brain, yeah, it is stock image or whatever, but you realize, wow, I've walked by that place. And tomorrow, heck, I may be going to those locations on Peace Street. I think I am going to do the Lincoln Memorial tomorrow, though, because I haven't done it because it's been under construction. So I might just need to check it out and see what the status of
Why
the
is it under construction? Just refurbishment.
So they're actually building underneath the foundation where there is open space, like, I don't know, storage or whatever. They're building a visitor center which is, so what they've done recently, and I say recently, like last 10 years, is they built a new visitor complex at the Washington Monument. Before that, they had a new visitor complex under the Capitol building. And now this will be at the Lincoln Memorial. And the way they're doing it, they're very discreet. They don't distract. If you step back, you won't even notice that the visitor center's there. But you know, you kind of go around the side and then you go under and then you learn the history. So this one, as far as I know, it's not quite done yet. But I think the way they're designing these new visitor areas is really well done, because they're not building new buildings. Yeah. They're incorporating them either into or under the existing structure.
That's
so yeah. So I definitely, I think I want to check that out tomorrow. So maybe I'll walk up to Georgetown from there, because depending on the humidity.
It's going to be a live stream.
It'll be a live stream. Yep. Weather permitting. Tomorrow morning.
There we go.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Lincoln
and as I
Memorial
said off stream, I'm gonna have to refill the paddling pool to get that ready for the little one. It's gonna be nutty again in the hot week.
Yeah, I'm
The
gonna
hot
have to do
sun.
that when I get back. Last year there was a day I was hiking and I came right home and put the pool up and then just jumped right in. So that's good. That might happen
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I do love that because I go paddling pool. My kid's 4. Your kids are.
Well, see, they used to make fun of me. Up until last year, they would not go near my little wading pool because they thought it was just silly. But yeah, I have teenagers. My oldest, I have a soon to be 19-year-old. Next week we have a birthday. So
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
she got her big birthday present yesterday, which is I'm sorry, I have girls, so once a year.
Okay, I have girls, so I bought me Transformers.
Oh, I know. Hey, no, they're both Lego maniacs. That's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
But once a year,
Expensive.
the very expensive, they get to go to the expensive hair salon and get the
Yeah,
expensive, whole
nice.
deal. So that was Friday. So she got her big birthday deal on Friday. Um, yeah, it's getting more and more expensive to do these
Mm,
things.
yeah.
It's not just a $20 for nails. Now it's the hair and the nails, and yeah, But
And the
but
intricate
but
bits.
she's working, so
Yeah, yeah.
she earns it. So happy
That's
birthday to
good.
her. Um,
Nice, nice, nice.
yeah, they still love their Legos. They're
Yeah,
still
cool.
Lego kids.
Anyway, so what did your husband? Did he tell you his score?
No,
What
I
did
didn't
he?
ask him to give
No.
me a score. I
Okay.
just asked him to write up his
No, okay.
why he
That's fine.
recommended.
That's cool. But yeah, so before we do the will, but yeah, I'm really excited if Jay thinks he would live forever. I must
I
say, I'm really excited for Jay. And like there's movies. I think me and you are going to be really on the same page with this movie.
I'm a little worried
Oh, really? Do you
because
think he's not going to like it?
well, okay, because we've seen it so much and it's like part of who we are, right? If
Mm.
you're a geek of our age, that's who we are.
Oh,
I don't know how it holds up. Like, because the effects are a little clunky
no,
and
but I would say that because I'm sure girlfriend. When did she watch it? She didn't watch it like back in the day, and I made her. It was on, and I was like,
oh,
"Well, yes,"
what
and
did she
that was
think?
like, she loved it. She was like,
Oh, okay,
it,
okay, okay, good,
and
good, good,
it
good,
was
good.
a
Well,
bit.
she's
It was
smart.
that no,
She's
but it was
brilliant.
them ones where you're like, "Oh, this is a bit outdated.
You're not
What's this
sure.
about?" And then realizing, "Oh, why have we gone back to Scotland? Why are we now in New York? Oh, and it gets good."
Why is Sean Connery Spanish?
Yeah, you just have to bypass that,
You just
don't you?
have to
Like,
be okay with it.
why is a French Canadians Scottish and the
Scottish.
Scottishman is a Spaniard who lived in I think he lived in is it kind of like Arabia or somewhere, didn't
I
he?
don't
Like
know.
that.
Yeah, he was
I go
in
like I really like you like
yeah,
yes, it doesn't make sense, but just the storyline
just go with
really
it.
is intriguing. Yeah. So but I did finish the quickening.
Ugh,
Oh, you know what?
don't. No.
No, to stand by that movie, it's awful because of Highlander, because of the how it is. Well, an Egyptian. There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
No, sorry, Galandor. Just went Egyptian. So it doesn't. Yeah. Okay. Um, still doesn't make sense. But yeah. Anyway, so the quickening. If it was a standalone movie. And if you were trying to do
Don't
that Dune
defend it.
kind of thing, no, it's not bad. But because it's got the Highlander and what's that about? It's awful. The screenwriter, I don't get where they were going with it. You're like, you've got this great story about the one. It's not going to work. So I don't get where they
Mm-mm.
were going with it. And I always say, I think this is like, I think you're cool on it. It's a one and done because it's
So
about the one.
so here's the order that I saw.
Mm.
Here's how I got to Highlander. I saw the Highlander television series, which I know people pan, but that's how I found the lore. So I have to love it, and I have to love Adrian Paul because he's just an awesome person. And I think I've told you I gravitate towards stories where there is someone who's like the human, the mortal, the watcher, So the TV series, you got the watcher. It's like Buffy, you got Giles. You got to have a watcher. You got to have somebody there. So I saw that. And then I am very devastated to say, then I accidentally saw The Quickening before I saw the Highlander film.
Oh, did you?
I saw them all out of. I know. So
you see number 3. That's
the
just a
TV show I love, The Quickening, I despised, and I almost didn't see the original film because my head was just like hurting, and I really loved the television series. So then when I did see the Highlander film, then I was like, okay, it's all good now. Like wipe The Quickening from my brain. Just take it out of my brain.
You have to forget that. Like there's a couple of good scenes, but otherwise you're like, where did that logic go? And then they tried to milk it with that. What was it called? Number 3. I can't remember. It was.
I didn't see it. No, whatever it was.
They just kind of ripped off the Highlander, but tried again. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, we'll go on and on and on about this, but the old Scotland scenes better than Braveheart, 100%. Clancy Brown, can we talk? I mean, just tremendous.
Wait, keep it for next week.
I know.
That's it. But I'm like that when it came up. It's like, because I did say that was gonna be that was so close to be my action pick. And I was like, no, I want cheese. Let's not do that because I was
glad you did. Hey, I really enjoyed Demolition Man.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. It was. We need a bit of cheese now and again. But the Queen soundtrack is a story by itself, and we will talk about that. We will talk about
iconic.
That. Yeah, we go.
Groundbreaking. I mean, a rock opera. That was a thing back then. The rock operas were a thing.
Yeah.
So,
but on point, Jay might get his pick.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm sure.
Come on, we can't have another. It'll be 4 in a row people picks if we. I don't know what's going on with this wheel.
Well, I don't know, but but hopefully it's not Chat's pick because that's there. I just saw that. Look at that. Oh, please don't.
Not that,
but let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if it is just like it's because they're new. I don't know because they're new to the
because
wheel.
It was your action pick, my partner pick, my fantasy pick, and now so let's just leave it at 3. Let's have something random.
I'm gonna click
total random.
We're gonna go random. Do it. Oh, what's going on? Oh
no, you broke the wheel.
We got no, it's okay. There we go.
Don't break the wheel.
Don't break the wheel. Oh no, it's gonna be another pick. Oh my god!
Oh my god! How much time do we have? Oh my word!
Okay, lucky enough, I said off backline we've got an extra day. We're going to be a Sunday. Oh no,
we have an extra day.
Okay, we're going to have to bring this forward.
We're gonna have to figure this. Yeah, wait. So hey, we've got my number 1 and 2 fantasy picks now, 2 weeks in a row, because that would have been my number 1, but I couldn't do it. I had to say my number 2 is Highlander. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Jade. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're gonna need. We're gonna need 8 hours.
Just literally just come in. Oh, that's gonna be a long one. Oh my.
Just got off the phone with Bradley Cooper.
Oh, we're gonna have to. I remember the books. You gonna read the
Galadorn.
books?
I am. Yeah, I am. I got them on. I hate to say this, I'm gonna have to do it though because they're wonderful.
Oh God,
I have the audiobooks that are narrated by good Lord, where's my brain?
Just popped in for the wheel and just went, oh no, you're screwed.
Help me. Who played come on, Gollum, actor, amazing, motion cap.
Chat. Oh my god. Yes, I know.
What's wrong?
Chat. Gollum. Ian, we got an Ian.
No, not Ian.
Not Ian. Who's Ian? Ian?
Oh, dear Lord. I've lost my brain.
Isn't just Ian? He's just like Prince or symbol. Jesus, come on,
Circus, Andy Serkis.
That's it,
Andy Serkis. So normally I would not do an audiobook for something as important as Lord of the Rings.
Hold it. I was going to say with Galador, he went Ian Gandalf. You're like Ian Gandalf.
No, he didn't. No, Andy Serkis narrates the audio,
Anyway.
the more recent audiobooks. Maybe Ian
Who's
McKellen.
Amdy? What are you talking about, Amdy?
They're all so excited about Lord of the Rings. They're all so excited about Lord of the Rings.
We need to make an agreement. Extended or theatrical?
Extended, 100%. There's no question. Extended.
Extend. Oh, you just added another 2 hours.
So
okay,
I will read the books.
We're gonna have to bring this forward UK time quite a bit, just to let you know, if that's okay.
Yep.
Jay said he was free. We'll have to but this is if I had to say, this is the Epic Film Club. This is the Epic Film Club.
It will be the Epic Film Club.
Oh.
It will beat the Godfather.
It was on there. No, it was on. No, Godfather's 6 hours, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, but it went by really fast.
And we did say originally, do we need to break these movies up? And it was again, Sandy. No, we need to do all three.
It's one story.
Yeah, one story.
Oh, there can be only one.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's the one, and then the One Ring.
There can be only one.
There we go. Oh wow. That is okay.
So
I'm excited, and also if it's got another heat wave, I'm also thinking, oh my God, I might have to just get a spray bottles.
You're gonna have to get the fan with the spray.
I get to rewatch them again. Yay!
It's a yay, and I also so the EFAP that did all 3 extended versions. It's a 12-hour EFAP, and it's marvelous. It's fantastic.
Hang on, wait. I have Brad's number. Get him on, Jade. Call him in. There we go. Oh my God.
You told me that a long time ago, Jade.
No. 2 and 3 part show. No, we just do it with 1. There we go. Over a couple of days. How are we gonna do that? No, we can do that. I don't know.
So here's the thing about the films. Okay, anyway. So the books, the book it's long, but it's not that long. The films are long because of the sweeping, amazing cinematography and the battles and the shots, which are covered incredibly quickly in the books, right? So we're going to talk about the cinematography and the battles, but there's not a ton of dialogue when they're, crossing the Misty Mountains and all that. So we can do it.
And I think it's funny because you were saying, in your fantasy thing, it should be this.
It should be
that is fate. That was fate calling you. And also,
I'm sorry.
Jay is also changing a nappy probably right now, and he has no idea what's just happened.
Can't wait till he finds out.
Oh, I was looking. I was like, oh, it slowed down. I was like, oh, that's a long one. I was like, I don't remember that anything long. It has to be actually a pick. And then Lord of the Rings trilogy. Oh, so excited. There we go. That is a good one. That's a two good in a row. Highlander and Lord of the Rings. So that's it. Yeah.
It gives us some hope, right?
I mean,
there are so many good films that wheel is full of really exceptional films that I hope just somewhere.
I still want you two to get a Western pick. You'll be like, I don't know what to do.
And there are so many I haven't seen on the wheel. There are films on that wheel I have not seen. I've not seen a lot of. I think I've seen 2 of the Westerns on that wheel. So,
yeah, I think this is going to be a very conversational piece. I think the chat, 100%. Everybody's watched the at least the fear of the theater releases. And we go for the full extended versions. So that is going to be great.
Gotta do it.
Dig out my DVDs on them.
Got my DVDs over here.
Yeah.
Got my DVDs.
But that's going to be.
Break out the steel books.
How long is Fellowship? Now
3...
we go by.
Fellowship.
Extended version Fellowship.
Altogether, isn't it 12 and 45? 12 hours 40? No, not 12. No, it's like 12 hours total. For
12 hours. And
so some of them are 3.5, and some are.
I believe it was Jay said our talks go exactly near enough. It's time and a half.
So if we start at Noon my time. No, we're gonna have to start. Yeah, whenever
Yeah.
you'd like to start, I'm in. Whenever
Okay.
you'd like to start, I am
Chat,
in.
bring it in. We're gonna figure this out. So yeah, okay.
Chat,
That's
you
fine.
have some homework to do.
Well, yeah. So at least we got a week to decide, but you got a week to watch the movies. So we got not one movie. You have now 4 movies
4.
on your homework. 4 movies on your homework. And do you mind? No, because they're brilliant movies. Highlander, Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King. That's why you love Film Club. There we go. But on that was great. A great wheel choice. A great Q husband choice, I think we're saying.
Mr. Q. We'll call him Mr. Q.
Mr. Q. Great choice.
Technically, he hates that because I didn't take his name when we got married. So my last name is the Q and his is not. So
okay.
people automatically think that his name is my last name. It gets on his nerves so bad. So yes, Mr. Q, Mr. Q.
Mr. Q, Mr. Q. There we go. Mr. Q, we're gonna annoy you. Anyway, but everybody, I hope you've had a great film club this week. It's very hot in the UK. It's sweaty. I'm starting to feel the sweat and the burn. But everybody, I hope you've had a great one, and you're gonna have some epic hours of watching now. We do apologize, but also we don't apologize because they're great at the same time. So there we go. Everybody, we're gonna have to watch Highlander definitely next week. We're gonna talk about Saturday, Sunday for the Lord of the Wings trilogy. Like that. Why not just put it out there? There we go. So everybody have a great one. Enjoy nerding out with some great films. Sandy, you're gonna go for a walkabout tomorrow then, is it now?
Weather permitting, I think I'm gonna walk about tomorrow morning. Yep.
Nice. I will be filling up a paddling pool and trying to keep the kid very not hot. Let's say that. It's like that. He has a big fan in his bedroom. He's loving it at the moment. So it's like that. Everybody else is hating it because UK don't do aircon. But everybody keep safe. Have a great one. I hope you really enjoyed it. We've now got to tell Jay what his film club pick is, and oh my, that's what's going to happen.
I just checked. He's not in chat, so we're going to have to surprise him.
Yeah, we have to surprise him, and yeah, that's going to have to be fun. Now, I'm guessing he's going to have to go. I'll be back, and we understand that because we've all got we've always had young kids, so we cannot expect 24 hours for Jay. Maybe for me and Sandy, we'll have to see. But until then, until the madness happens, have a great one. Possibly Sandy's going to jump into the front.
Possibly. No, definitely. Sandy's going to jump into the front.
I'm going to tell her about Vince Vaughn and Bradley Cooper offline. And have a great one. Bye for now.